I'm a-coming to get you about...
Oh, hey, Mario. Took down this bridge here, also killed the princess, BT dubs.
Ganon, it's Link. I couldn't find a boss key.
Oh, you can't get in without me leaving a key out in the open for you? Wow. Wow, hero of time, everyone. Big round of applause. Are you even listening to what you're saying? God.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rolling 20s. We are the show that found out the wedding proposal scene in Deadpool was based on a real-life instance. Just you. I am Jeremy.
Steve. Jesse.
Ellie.
Remember, you can subscribe to this show and several others in the MSP library at missionstarpodcast.com. You can like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on iTunes and on Stitcher. Follow us on Twitter at the Rolling 20s. You can send us any fan mail, suggestions for the show, or hate mail at mspfreight@yahoo.com. The music you heard at the beginning of the show is by Machine Supremacy. You can find more of their discography for free download at machinesupremacy.com, as well as their latest couple of albums on amazon.com. The clip you heard was If Video Game Bosses Were Actually Smart by Dorkly. You can find more of their videos on YouTube under the channel Dorkly. I am so glad today is over.
Was it busy?
Busy was not the word. Utter chaos. A nightmare from which I will never recover. I would say I threw the ring into Mount Doom, except Mount Doom spat it back in my face and it landed right between my eyes.
Yeah.
Today was Comic-Con registration, and I think I've mentioned it on and off on the show. I somehow got put in charge of a group of people trying to buy badges just because I asked a couple questions. And it turned out that not everyone got what they wanted from the experience, but everybody came away with something at the very least, which is kind of amazing when you consider I had less than 60 days to try and put something together. And
well,
the odds are... What?
You have a hotel registration to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can eat my unwashed ass, man. No, but I mean, everybody came away with something solid, which is good. They're talking about doing pre-reg next year, which takes a huge load off, which is also good. And it was really weird to watch that whole thing break down, because for the first, 25 minutes, nothing. And then two people get through almost immediately, nothing for about another 15 minutes, and then the floodgates opened. Would that be about right, Steve?
Especially towards the end, when only Sunday was left, and like 5 people almost back to back got in.
Dude. If you could imagine it got to the point where we ran out of people to buy for.
Yeah, that was actually really impressive.
It's a little creepy.
Everybody kept going like, "Oh, I tried that name. It says ineligible. I tried that name too. It's ineligible."
Yeah, it's a decent problem to have. How's everyone else doing?
Right.
I am going on no sleep.
Oh, no.
You didn't sleep at all? I thought you were supposed to sleep after Reg.
I was going to. And I didn't.
What happened?
I played Tom Clancy's The Division beta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my fault.
That explains that. What about you, Jesse? How are you doing?
I feel like a colossal ass right now.
Why?
Well, I got a phone call from my mother this morning saying my brother showed up, at her place after his oh God, what does he do for the Army? Reserves. There we go. Reserve work.
My brother showed up at home after he shot somebody and he's all pissed off. I don't know what's going on.
No, but he came back from his stint for the reserves for this month, and he pretty much says, I have not congratulated him for him having a kid. It's like, really? I haven't?
Yeah.
That was a month ago. Shit.
Oh,
and my mom just kind of berated me, make me feel real small like mothers can do.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, so I kind of feel bad I didn't, say anything to him.
As someone with 3 kids, I sort of understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, I don't need congratulations because my penis works. So I'm kind of on this weird midpoint here in regards to this issue,
Yeah, still.
Elise, how are you?
I'm tired. I had to drop a class today because I just don't have time to do it. Learning a language is a one of those things where you think you can make time for it, and you think you know how ridiculous it's going to be, but then it kicks your ass, and you're like, oh no, I had no idea.
I've taken Spanish for 4 years before. Still know how to speak it.
I took Spanish for 3 years. You want to know what I remember? Zapatos, boots, shoes. That's it. Bye. I don't know anything else.
You got me beat, because I took...
hijos.
Yeah, I took Spanish for a semester in high school, and all I can tell you is no hablo español, soy negro.
I can say numbers and colors, and that's about it.
So I did better at Japanese for reasons I can't explain at all.
Oh.
If I had a good reason for that, I'd give it to you, but I don't.
Jeremy, guess what I learned?
What?
I basically have dyslexia except with math.
Really?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's also affecting my learning Korean. I didn't know that. But now I know that I'm not just stupid. So that's great.
It's great. I'm not an artard. I'm just weird. That's wonderful.
I just puzzle.
All right. Well, everybody learned something today, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
The subject of the week is a combination of two lady-centric books, A-Force and Captain Marvel, that's come out in the last few months. We'll get to that after we get through the news of the week. And first off is Marvel Media News. That is the news that Marvel has. It doesn't have to do with comic books directly, but other types of projects they have. First story up there is James Gunn, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy Volumes 1 and 2. He has officially put out a presser talking about the cast of the movie. He talked about returning stars Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Michael Rooker, Kieran Gillen, Vin Diesel, Bradley Cooper, Sean Gunn, and Glenn Close, all returning for the next movie. They're also adding to the cast with Pom Klementif, who is now being confirmed as playing Mantis in the movie, Elizabeth Debicki and Chris Sullivan in unknown roles, as well as another recent addition. It's official now. He's in it. Kurt Russell. And the brief synopsis that Marvel itself provided was, quote, set to the all-new sonic backdrop of awesome mixtape number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 continues the team's adventures as they unravel the mystery of Peter Quill's true parentage, unquote. And that's all they told us. Although, considering what's in that presser, I think that's enough.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I'm kind of worried about knowing more. I want the bomb to kind of drop on that on its own.
Yeah, I think we're going to be in for a lot of surprises. I'm excited.
Yeah. Another returning star from Marvel is the sequel to the Ant-Man film, Ant-Man and the Wasp. The director who helped rewrite part of the script, Adam McKay, he's agreed to come back on for the sequel. He said, quote, we've just been talking to Marvel, actually. We just talked to them the other day, and it looks like I will be involved in the Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't know if it's going to be right from page 1, but it looks like I will definitely be involved. There you go. There's a little headline for the fanboys, unquote. Have you guys seen the recent images from the Civil War? It looks like Ant-Man's got a new costume.
No. Maybe.
But, yeah, the costume and the helmet looks a little sleeker than usual. But the thing that everyone's taking away from it is some of the new toys, including like Legos and Funko Pops. They're not listing the character as Ant-Man. The title they're adding to it is Giant Man.
Oh.
So it looks like we'll see the other aspect and use of Pym particles in Civil War somewhere.
Nice.
But Marvel's movies aren't the only ones getting new additions. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is getting a new character. They've hired the actress Elena Rodriguez. She hasn't been in any major projects, so I wouldn't be surprised if you hadn't heard of her. However, she is coming in as a named Marvel character called Yo-Yo Rodriguez. That's not a call sign. That's her real name in Marvel Comics. Yo-Yo Rodriguez.
Okay.
Her call sign is Slingshot. She was one of the Secret Warriors from the series that existed back in 2000, I think, 8 and 9.
Right.
You remember what Slingshot's power is, Steve?
It was teleportation, wasn't it?
No.
No?
No. It's one of the most unusual aspects I've ever heard in this form. She's a speeder. The difference is, though, She does run at high speed. She has a really good metabolism, but when she stops running, her powers suddenly cause her to snap back to her origin point.
Okay. I do somewhat remember that now.
Yeah, so she can get some territory, but as soon as she stops running, she's back where she started. That's why she's called Slingshot. No word as to when this character is going to be entering the series, but it's very likely to be in the upcoming second half of the season. Who would like a new trailer?
I do.
Okay.
Me.
All kinds of fun there. There was a new trailer released for Marvel's Daredevil Season 2.
Ooh,
And this one has more than just whispers of the Punisher in it. It has the man's face.
Oh.
You want it?
I want
Of course we do.
it. Share with us.
There we go. I sent the video. Ooh, the Castle family.
Castle.
One match.
Oh,
Guns.
so creepy. I love it.
Someone's gonna die.
This is my jam.
No, he's a hugger.
Father, why do I still feel guilty? The guilt means your work is not yet finished.
Now whip yourself.
Downtown office thinks we got a new plate in his kitchen. What do they want?
The music is
Says the
quite
shooter's independent.
He's tracking gangsters
mood
on
setting.
turf and taking them out with military precision.
With knowledge and hardware to take out half the city.
Dude.
Hell's Kitchen is about to explode.
Did you see the size of that drum magazine?
Yeah.
I knew it!
Bang.
Oh my god, shame! I'm done.
Maybe we created him.
And John
All of
Bernthal.
us.
There's no
He's
connection.
awesome.
We never stopped to think that Daredevil's
Such a good
actions
actor.
could open the door for men like this.
How much longer before innocent people start getting caught in his crossfire?
Blood is being shed. And you donated more than your fair share.
Literally.
The city needs him.
I need to take care of the scum that killed my family. People don't have to die.
Is that a new hallway fight?
Get back up. I hit them and they stay down. Why are you doing this? Because I think you're a half measure. I think you're a man who can't finish the job. I think that you're a coward. You know you're one bad day away from being me.
Damn.
Jeez, you almost think he said the same thing in The Walking Dead.
I know, right? I was just thinking. Amazing.
Oh, wait. Here's the special part.
Electra.
Hello, Matthew.
Ooh, girl.
Trailer part 2.
That was so good.
But that's
Wow.
not even all. As you saw at the end there's a second part to this trailer that comes
I
out
love
the
that. I love
25th.
that they did that. That's so
I
good.
am really looking forward to this. I
Yeah.
love these stories that have like clashing ideals that are genuinely good.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, Marvel and Netflix had to make a choice because when Wolverine isn't available, you ask the other guy that shares his philosophy to step into that role. And Frank Castle is definitely that guy. Who besides me has seen Deadpool?
Yo.
Yo, seen it.
Not me. I haven't gotten a chance.
Okay. Do you guys want to know what they took in as of Tuesday in that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
$163.69 million.
Oh,
If you would like to know if that's a success, the approximate budget for the Deadpool film was $58 million.
Whoa,
It was cheap by comparison.
Yeah, I heard they did this movie on a budget, which I think they're also planning to continue for the next movie.
Oh, word is that's what their plan is. No word yet as to what Fox has authorized them to take, only that they've greenlit the movie in general. What I can tell you is that this is the highest This is the highest opening weekend ever for an R-rated movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Really,
So they're enjoying really good success. As a matter of fact, they got congratulations today from Chris Evans, the guy who plays Captain America for Disney.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, he sent out a tweet congratulating Ryan Reynolds and the Deadpool film on their take. And Ryan Reynolds, he just repeated the tweet and put underneath it, #TeamCap.
Oh.
And that's when Robert Downey Jr. got involved and just said, hey, when Cap is done with your language issues, give me a call. Seems like everybody's having fun with this. As a matter of fact, the fans are having fun too. There's two separate petitions going on right now in relation to Deadpool. Did you hear about these?
I heard about one.
Two petitions. One is to have Deadpool host Saturday Night Live. To which Ryan Reynolds basically got back in costume and cut a short video explaining why you really don't want that to happen. He said he had to grease a lot of palms to get this done. A lot of Fox executives he had to get on his knees in front of. A few mice he had to talk to, and this weird guy named Wolverine and all this stuff. And he's just really not ready for television. The other petition was to get a statue made of Deadpool in his fictional hometown of Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, the mayor actually got involved in that because when he heard about the petition, they asked him, what do you think about this? And all he said is, quote, no, quote.
One word. Oh, my God.
So, go. I'm glad people are having fun with it, but sooner or later you got to realize this ain't going to happen. James Gunn, though, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn, also weighed in on Deadpool's success, though, and he's a little concerned. Not about the movie.
Yeah, I think I heard about this.
He told Access Hollywood, he told Access Hollywood, quote, I love Deadpool even more. The film is hilariously funny, has lots of heart, and is exactly what we need right now, taking true risks in spectacle film. The film has a self-depreciating tone that's riotous. It's never been done before. It's poking fun at Marvel. The label takes itself so seriously. Can you imagine them making fun of themselves in a movie? They'd rather stab themselves. Unquote. And then he went on because he said, quote, let's ignore Guardians for a moment, a movie that survives from moment to moment, building itself up and cutting itself down. God knows I'm biased about that one. But what do you think Favreau and Downey did in Iron Man? What the frack was Ant-Man? Deadpool was its own thing. That's what people are reacting to. It's original. It's damn good. It was made with love by the filmmakers, and it wasn't afraid to take risks. So over the next few months, if you pay attention to the trades, you'll see Hollywood misunderstanding the lesson they should be learning with Deadpool. They'll be greenlighting films like Deadpool, but by that, they won't mean good and original, but a raunchy superhero film, or it breaks the fourth wall. They'll treat you like you're stupid, which is the one thing Deadpool didn't do, unquote.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a point, because all these trades are saying that Fox right now didn't just greenlight X-Force as a result of Deadpool. They've also greenlit the Deadpool sequel and a Wolverine film, all of which are going to be R-rated, which is interesting in certain respects, but you got to wonder if they're going to overcorrect. I'm a little concerned that Fox, finally having a far and away hit as far as one of their Marvel properties, is going to go way too far in this direction since they've been burned multiple times by the Fantastic Four.
Right. And, I mean, for Wolverine, you can get away with it. I mean, he is...
It's not necessary.
But yeah,
it's not absolutely necessary. Wolverine at a good PG-13 can still work because Wolverine is the only one who typically tries to restrain himself in those situations.
Yeah, it just depends on whether or not you're going to go for Berserker Wolverine or...
Yeah. I will say X-Force, if you're going to have any interest in that, I don't think you can do that below an R, frankly. X-Force's entire stock and trade was trying to end enemies before they became enemies.
Mm.
Regardless of what iteration you're talking about, that was always their mission. So, X-Force is an R, I can take that. The third Wolverine film is an R. That's when I think you're kind of pushing this too far in one direction. There is one actor who would like to play Cable, though, and he said so online several times.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Which actor?
Who it was, though?
His name is Stephen Lang. He's the guy who played the villain in the Avatar movie.
Oh.
Remember him, the guy with all the muscles and the steel gray hair?
That Avatar. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, which Avatar are we talking about?
The good one.
The one with blue rabbit people.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the Avatar I can handle.
The guy in charge of the military in that movie. He's the one who wants to play Cable.
You know what?
I think he could do it.
He actually put out a tweet of himself flexing a bicep, looking into the camera, and he said, quote, Shakespeare, cables of predurable toughness. Slang, just staying fit. Training, another story. Let's go, hashtag Deadpool, unquote.
Okay.
He actually looks a lot like Cable, just in his natural day-to-day, so the dude could do it. I have nothing really to say, because that's interesting that he's putting himself out there already. He wasn't on the short list of actors Fox put together, as far as I know, but he should definitely be in the running.
Oh, yeah.
FX is pushing forward their Legion spin-off series. Legion is a TV show that's supposed to be about the son of Charles Xavier, the one with multiple personality disorder, and each personality he has its own separate ability attached to it. They've added a character that I've never heard of before. This is going to be an original character to the TV show called Ptonomy, Ptonomy. It's going to be played by actor Jeremy Harris. Ptonomy, or autonomy, I guess with a ponage T, is described as an outsider by nature with standoffish and sardonic nature who is a former child prodigy feeling trapped in the past. I have no idea where that's leading.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, it's what they've done. I'm not going to bark at it. But last up, when it comes to Marvel media news, the Chinese want more of your money.
Oh.
Hot Toys is back with more of their massive action figures.
Oh,
the ones that cost between $200 and $250 a piece. But all three of the ones they previewed are Civil War based.
Oh.
They're releasing the latest versions of Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and Iron Man. All based on the movie. And I love the fact that the Captain America doesn't just come with swappable heads. It comes with different grimaces to put underneath his cowl mask.
Oh. Or
underneath his helmet.
Huh.
Comes with 7 different hands and some kind of broken face mask. I don't quite know what that's about. I'm sure that'll be revealed in the movie.
That's probably from Crossbones.
Crossbones? Yeah.
Oh, I suppose it is. The Winter Soldier, that looks a lot like Sebastian Stan, like uncomfortably so. Hey, at least they actually sewed him a leather jacket for this figure.
Looks good.
But take a look at the Iron Man in the bleeding edge armor.
Oh man, that looks pretty good.
It has LED lights that I can see in at least 11 different locations just on one picture. Oh, I'm sorry. And according to the article, there's 28 LEDs all over the body.
Oh, nice.
Which means while this figure would look great on a shelf, it can also function as a nightlight.
It's an expensive nightlight.
Right?
For some people, yeah. And by some people, I mean not me. That's oh my god, I couldn't afford that for fun.
I was going to say, are you afraid of the dark?
I sleep in the dark. I live in the dark. Frick it, I am the dark.
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
We didn't name this down the bat pole for a reason.
I didn't say anything about Batman. I'm just a black guy sitting out here in the night. That means nobody can find me.
Smile.
The blackest.
No. Believe it or not, DC media has been relatively quiet this week. I thought they'd really ramp up something, considering Batman v Superman is now about 4 weeks from release, but only 2 stories were released, and none of them had any to do with DC's movie properties this week.
Really?
I am dead serious. I looked. I couldn't even find fluff stories about the Suicide Squad or Batman v Superman at all this week. All of a sudden, they're running silent, and that disturbs me to a certain degree.
That's a little bit weird, because before it was so active. Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's like before there was at least one story about Batman v Superman for every week for practically the last 6 months. This week, nothing. And that's really disturbing considering last week came that rumor that, Warner Brothers is worried about Batman v Superman and considering shuffling around the release dates of their subsequent movies. The rumor said they would push back the Justice League release and instead they would push the Ben Affleck Batman movie into the Justice League's place. Like I said, that was the rumor, and now all of a sudden there's nothing. That's really freaking bizarre to me. So the two stories I have, the first one has to do with one of my least favorite DC media properties, Gotham.
Ew.
At the end of the last season, there was an actor playing the villain of the series. God, what was his name? Theo Gallivan. He was being played by James Frain, who I like as an actor, but whatever direction they were giving him, he was chewing up the scenery something fierce. There was so much ham coming out of this, out of his role in this show. They might as well have called his character Oscar Mayer. And it turns out he's not done with the show. There's already photos from the set that don't just show Frain walking around the set, but he's walking around in a new costume.
Is it purple?
No, it's red.
Red Hood?
No. Theo Gallivan is dressed up in the armor of Azrael.
Really?
Yes. Yes. I know. I know Elise is just sitting there going, and that's important.
Yeah, I'm just like, what?
Azrael is, from the comic books, he was from an order called the Order of St. Dumas, which has played out a little bit in the Gotham TV show. He was supposedly a reincarnated in Knights of the Crusade, and when Bruce Wayne's back was broken by Bane a while ago, he agreed that Azrael was reformed enough to take over as Batman. Azrael did pretty good in the beginning, then slowly went insane, built a bat armor around his costume, and then Bruce Wayne basically had to fix his bat, come back and fight him so he could be Batman again. Which sounds about as young and the restless as I'm willing to get. So now James Frain as Theo Gallivan is playing the role of Azrael in the upcoming season. I was really kind of hoping he was done with this show so he could go do something better. But the only other DC media news I have is another villain coming into a DC property, but this one has to do with Supergirl. We heard a while ago that the actress Italia Ricci was being cast as something called Siobhan Smythe, or Siobhan Smythe. It's a character that's supposed to be hired as Cat Grant's second assistant and becomes a rival to Supergirl's alter ego during the series. Turns out Siobhan Smythe is the name of DC Comics' Silver Banshee.
Okay.
And there's a picture that Entertainment Tonight got from the set showing this character in costume as Silver Banshee.
Ooh, wow.
I don't know.
I'm looking at her comic depiction, and
yeah, this is what she looks like on set. And
yeah, that doesn't carry over to real life.
No, it's the thing is though the comic book character is a little bizarre just on the page. So I was kind of concerned about what adaptation they would do to bring this character to real life. And what they basically seem to have done is taken a Generation X outfit and then just painted her face and let her go.
Yeah, she looks a little bit wonky, dude.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the comic book iteration is not much better. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's one of those things where it's a combination of, I guess you could say 80s or 90s sexism in the design, as well as something you just wouldn't want to see on TV. Take a look at the comic book version, and you'll understand what I mean. So I'm not saying that CBS did a bad job of trying to bring her to TV. What I'm saying is, as far as design goes, I don't think they had a terrible amount to work with in the beginning.
Yeah, that's difficult to translate, man.
If they put some thought, they could actually make that really terrifying looking. But
they could have done better.
I think they straight up copied it right from the comics.
I don't think they copied it that well because Silver Banshee's basically a bodysuit with some white fire coming off it. So that's what I mean. This character is wide open for a very different interpretation that could have looked good on screen, but for some reason, unless there's some special effects I'm not seeing, I think they really dropped the ball here.
Yeah.
Let alone the character as a Banshee, which means that any use of the power is generally going to be non-visual. It's going to be kind of tough to tell on a TV budget.
Yeah. This just doesn't look very good.
Kind of makes me wonder why they went with this character.
Yeah, I mean...
She's a known Superman villain.
You're asking the wrong cat. It looks... Well, it is a... I don't know about Superman. Since I started reading DC Comics more heavily in the last 5 years, she's been almost exclusively a Supergirl villain.
I was looking at Action Comics cover. First appearance, Action Comics, 1987.
Like I said, I don't know anything about Superman villain. Since I started reading heavily, she's been a Supergirl villain. All right, we're moving into general media news. We'll talk about the geeky properties that aren't Marvel and DC related coming to different screens. And I was a little surprised. Disney has been working on a remake of Mary Poppins.
Ooh, really?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Oh, I grew up with Mary Poppins. Too cool.
Now, there's not a lot of news about this other than the fact that Disney's moving forward. However, it looks like they may be narrowing down their casting, and it leads me to ask other questions. The reason why I say that is because according to Variety, Disney may be moving in on having Emily Blunt play the lead role in the Mary Poppins film.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
That's not something I have a problem with. It's just, I know that Marvel has also had their eye on Emily Blunt to potentially play Captain Marvel, so it makes me wonder if Disney is trying to have its cake and eat it too in this situation.
Ugh.
Are they trying to sign her to a multi-picture deal?
Hmm.
Can't say it hasn't happened before, but it is an interesting note, I would say. Because if they do sign her, that means she could technically be that much closer playing Carol Danvers for Marvel. I don't know. Would you guys see a new Mary Poppins? Because I'm on the fence about that.
I would be willing to
maybe.
See it, and if it sucks, it sucks. But I grew up with it. I'd love to see what they do with it.
I know I'm not much into nostalgia kicks, but Mary Poppins and Pete's Dragon are two things where it feels kind of weird to have a new one made. Even though they're dated, they were still very charming to me.
I agree with you on that point. It is going to be a little bit weird, honestly.
I don't know. I think, I mean, it's kind of like remaking Annie and whatnot. You could wind up burning yourself. But,
That's true.
Hopefully they go into this with a good plan.
The thing is, though, it all depends on how they approach the remake, because, the Annie remake, sucks to say it, but unfortunately, because they flipped the script as far as race, a lot of people were already turned off to it before the trailers even came out.
I mean, I could really care less about the race. It was just...
I'm not saying that's your problem or my problem. I'm saying it was a problem that a lot of people had, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I just... I didn't think they picked the best casting. But that's me.
I never saw it, but I did see the trailer several times. I didn't realize the race would actually bother people that much. Like, I can see it bothering white people, like, oh, you just, I'm white. But still, there are some people I know who would be upset about that, but the only people who think of are white.
I'm less interested in which race plays which role as long as the story is good. That's all I really care about.
And from the trailer I saw, I didn't think the story was going to be much.
It looks a little bit deep, which is why I didn't see it.
The Annie remake, my issue with it wasn't the actor so much as you could tell that they tried a little too hard to modernize it.
Oh, yeah. That bothered me a bit.
Yes, you can bring it into a modern context, but they were so busy adding a lot of slang and flash to it that I think they kind of lost the story beneath.
Yeah. It is a classic, and I don't think they kept that in mind as well as they could.
That's okay, though, because in the realm of questionable remakes, it turns out that Warner Brothers is moving forward with another remake that, remake is the wrong word, because they're going for the first time that I know of live action with this one.
Oh?
Yeah, Warner Brothers wants to make a live action film of Osamu Tezuka's Astro Boy.
What?
Really?
Like the DBZ movie?
They're describing it, according to The Hollywood Reporter, as a live action 4-quadrant adventure movie. What does that mean?
I have no clue.
What is a 4-quadrant adventure movie? Is that like playing Foursquare? Because I've been good at that.
I'm so baffled right now.
You know, Astro Boy as an animated film, I understand it. Astro Boy as a 3D animated film, I understand it. Astro Boy as a live-action film, you lost me.
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd really be curious to see who they hired to pretend they have butt guns.
Okay, 4-quadrant movie is the 4 major demographics: male, female, above and below 20. A
live-action Astro Boy would not appeal to that. A live-action Astro Boy, the only chance you've got is to impress the people that go to Comic-Con.
Or, old school anime fans who, might not.
But that's the thing.
Old school anime fans will look at this and scream and run.
Some I know would not. Like, it's depending on the trailer. It really depends on the trailer and how they
No, they'll probably rant and rave.
Yeah. The sad part is, if you tried to show something like that off at modern anime conventions, most of them would look at this and go, "What is this, man? Astro Boy? Sounds lame."
Oh my god, don't even
we don't need another DBZ evolution. That's probably what they'll say.
It's okay. I think we're only getting the next Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Oh god. I hate you.
And me.
Well, the next 2 stories are related in the weirdest of ways. Because this could mean a lot for how people express themselves about how they view movies. Follow me here. Okay. You guys know what Rotten Tomatoes is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
RottenTomatoes.com is a movie review site where the movie is generally reviewed by aggregating responses of the people who sign on to Rotten Tomatoes to create an overall rating. I would call Rotten Tomatoes fairly accurate as far as ratings. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but in general, people seem to come to a general consensus, or I should say the website does based on the reviews, and you can get a pretty good idea as to which movies are and aren't good without actually being beholden to major critics. Would that be a fair way to describe it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Rotten Tomatoes is being bought out.
By who?
By whom?
By Fandango.
Ah, no!
Yeah, the website that specializes in helping you buy movie tickets from places you could already buy from online is buying out Rotten Tomatoes.
Why?
I don't know.
Just hopefully they don't use the stupid paper bag puppets for...
I couldn't say. But you may say that Fandango buying Rotten Tomatoes isn't necessarily... Fandango buying Rotten Tomatoes is not necessarily a conflict. It's 2 very different services, right?
Mm-hmm.
The same day I found that story, I found a secondary story on Newsarama that said that Fandango is getting an ownership stake bought out of it.
By who?
This is where it turns into a conflict. Fandango is getting an ownership stake bought out by Warner Brothers Entertainment.
Oh, hell no.
Yes. So that means that by de facto, because of the 2 buyouts happening approximately at the same time, Warner Brothers has a chance to own a majority stake of Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, that ain't good.
No. Unfortunately, you just got to wonder how accurate Rotten Tomatoes is going to be after a while, because as much as people, I'm sure, would still put in their honest opinions, you got to wonder how that's going to be spun.
Yeah, it could be really censored now. For all we know, we don't know how they're going to handle it.
And the worst part is, if I understand the legalities correctly, that means it's still not technically a conflict of interest, because Warner Brothers and Rotten Tomatoes are in 2 different businesses. Warner Brothers makes movies, Rotten Tomatoes just helps people review movies.
Those are still within the film industry in a way. They affect the film industry. Like, oh my god. I don't know.
It is a logical conflict of interest, but it's not a legal conflict of interest is the problem.
That stinks to me, honestly.
Yeah.
Well,
the reviews for Batman v Superman are going to get a lot better.
Sure they will.
And he went there.
What were you going to say,
I don't
Steve?
know. I mean, it kind of depends on, how honest they are about it, because, no one forces anyone to use Rotten Tomatoes. So if, DC tries to get too ridiculous with it, people will just stop using the site.
True. Like,
true, but I guess... Yeah, I guess the question is, where would you go from there? Would you go to Reddit, where nobody has an opinion that's worth anything, or would you end up going to Yelp, where they're losing money hand over fist, are probably going to get shut down in a year anyway?
Either that or somebody new will open up.
Yeah.
True.
So, anybody here collect Star Trek action figures?
I cannot say that I do.
Nope. Dude, there's a company I've never heard of called QMX that was at this year's Toy Fair. I have got to follow these people because they are coming out with amazing Star Trek action figures. And when I say amazing, I'm not talking Chris Pine. I'm talking William Shatner. Take a look at their version of Kirk and Spock from the original Star Trek series. These are incredibly lifelike.
Huh.
Wow. That is a pretty figure. Wow.
I mean, the bodies are not technically impressive, but that is real cloth they're using for the shirts. The faces themselves, though, that's a little scary. These are going to be about 12 inches tall each. Both will come with alternative gripping hands and phasers. Kirk gets a communicator, and Spock gets a tricorder. These things should be out in time for the 50th anniversary. There's no released price for these things yet, but what do you call it? Toyland and Gizmodo is recommending that you have about $200 set aside for each of these. And judging from what I'm looking at, I can't say that's out of line.
Oh, I have some of this stuff.
You have QMX?
Stuff from QMX. I got mostly from Loot Crate, but
I think they put together an amazing pair of figures here.
Well, the products are pretty nice overall.
These are really nice, yeah.
I wish they'd given us a close-up of the accessories here. I'd like to take a good look as to what they got, or the detail on these things. But that's not the only Star Trek re-release coming out, or Star Trek release, I should say. Who here is familiar with the USS Reliant?
Reliant. Sounds familiar.
Steve, you?
No.
It's from one of the shows. I can't remember which one.
The USS Reliant is not from any show.
Aha, okay, now I remember. I'm actually looking at it
USS Reliant is the ship that Khan stole in the Wrath of Khan, the second Star Trek film.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we're not talking the new stuff. Yeah, we're talking about Ricardo Montalban. This is the ship he stole. It's a Nebula-class ship. The thing is, though, this is also a QMX property. Take a look at this thing. It is 1/350th scale, 27 inches long, has working LED lights in it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The price tag is expected to be about $5,000.
Jesus.
That's a huge chunk of plastic.
I don't blame them, but wow.
Well, it is. It makes more sense when you understand. QMX makes each of these by hand, and it takes 5 artists a total of 150 hours to put one of these together.
Wow. Okay.
That includes
8 sweatshops. Got it.
That is now. Take a good look at this thing, because this is over 100 internal LEDs illuminating windows, phaser arrays, and the engine nacelles. It has warp engine and weapon system sounds, and a 20-layer paint job.
Wow.
Oh my God. They put some
there is a 1/250th scale version of this actually out there.
You know what? I'd rather have this one because they are putting in the man hours to make this thing
it's
special.
Out of stock.
Oh,
it's out of stock.
I like this.
It's $10,000.
As much as I don't want to pay $5,000 for any collectible, unless Powerball is extremely kind to me at some point. This is amazing, and it's extremely tempting.
Okay, apparently they've already put a predetermined cap on these. There's only going to be 250 of these.
Can't say I blame him. I mean, it would take upwards of at least 2 to 3 weeks just to produce one of them.
Right. Yeah. So, ultra rare, ultra expensive.
Somebody email V, because she might murder somebody just to get her hands on this. And I mean that literally.
Yeah, we don't want murder.
My phone at?
I kind of want her, no offense to Elise, to come back onto the show, so no murder.
I thought you were going to say that, Steve. I thought you were going to say you were going to find out who bought one of these, give V their address, and just cut her loose.
Oh my God. That would end badly.
There would be this
think
sound
would do
coming from
that.
Texas, like a mountain lion mauling a small dog at that point.
Oh.
Which is kind of an odd segue because there's a new plushie that came out based on an independent comic book. The series of Saga is an interesting story about, I guess you could say gods having children, more or less. And one of the more notable characters in it is a cat. A cat that lies. It's basically called The Lying Cat, and believe it or not, they've released a plushie based on The Lying Cat. It's 19 inches tall, and you can press the Lying Cat's collar and get a soundbite of the Lying Cat actually yelling, "Lying!"
Oh.
Okay.
I know, I couldn't have laid that out any weirder if I tried. Take a look. This is the plushie they're releasing of The Lying Cat.
Aww. Hello, friend.
Okay.
It reminds me of a hairless cat for some reason.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Is this supposed to be like Egyptian?
I don't know. I've never read Saga, so I do not know.
I haven't either. I don't think that the yellow part coming off the back would last very long, depending on...
not in your household.
I don't know. My plushies have survived.
Well, I have news on another remake coming out sometime in the near future. And it's one I didn't expect, and it's one I didn't hear about until this week. And it's one that, frankly, as much as recent remakes of this particular character have burned me, I do believe that this could actually be rather cool. Believe it or not, and I'm sending you the image right now, the Predator is coming back. They released a single image of his silhouette with the text laid over it, "You'll never see him coming."
Oh my god. I'm
Interesting.
ready.
It's not just interesting, because I was looking up some details on the story that was associated with this image. And the original Predator film was a 1987 Arnold Schwarzenegger film, and it was directed by John McTiernan, right?
Yep.
The
next one.
Now, the new film... Yeah, the new film is being co-written by Shane Black and Fred Decker. Now, it's interesting because Black not just worked on the script for the first Predator film, but he was also in it.
Oh.
He was one of the actors in the first movie. Yeah.
You know who he played or
But
not?
if you have any worries about Shane Black and his writing ability, he also worked on the scripts of Lethal Weapon, The Last Boy Scout, and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Oh,
and Shane Black also directed Iron Man 3.
Okay.
Oh.
3 of 4.
Yeah, his writing partner... Oh, it gets better. His writing partner, Fred Decker... Fred Decker himself has also worked on directing Night of the Creeps and The Monster Squad. And get this, when he was working on The Monster Squad, he co-wrote it with a man named Shane Black. All comes full circle, doesn't it?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a fan of the rhythm games, not necessarily not necessarily Guitar Hero, but Rock Band. I enjoy the hell out of Rock Band more than I really ought to, I think. So you can imagine how disturbed I was when I heard that Activision has been hit with layoffs recently.
Ooh.
Oh.
Not only that, Activision is the parent company that owns Guitar Hero. And Freestyle Games, who created Guitar Hero Live, were greatly impacted by this layoff.
Damn.
Yeah, all a company spokesperson would say about it is, quote, "We are refocusing to better align with Activision's long-term priorities because, as always, our strategy evolves to keep us ahead of a rapidly changing industry," unquote. And that's all they gave us in regards to the story.
Yeah.
Now, Activision is one of the companies underneath Blizzard's umbrella. Is that correct?
Or I think it's the other way around.
Oh, Blizzard's owned by Activision.
They're working. Yeah, they're in cahoots, but I'm not sure what the relationship is.
Well, I doubt Blizzard was heavily affected by this. It sounds like they started cutting from other segments first. It's disappointing, though. It seemed like rhythm games were starting to make a decent comeback, and now one of them is getting cut off at the knees.
Yeah. Wow. That's kind of unexpected for me, anyway.
Yeah.
I just didn't see it coming, but...
Okay. Nanostructure quartz. What do you know about it? It sounds like a Star Trek thing, doesn't it? Nanostructure quartz is a new thing that actually exists. It was developed by researchers at Southampton University in the United Kingdom. What they do is they used a femtosecond laser to write data in a 3D structure of quartz on a nanoscale. Would you like to know how resilient it is?
Yeah.
Oh, is this the one that I saw? It lasts for 14 billion years.
Yes, but on a single quartz disk, by writing it, it doesn't just last 14 billion years. It stores up to 360 terabytes of information.
Right. And honestly, 360 terabytes is kind of like, okay, yeah, that's pretty impressive. But yeah, for a couple billion years, yeah, that's pretty damn impressive.
But that means as soon as we get larger capacity or the proper machinery to read it, we can actually have small quartz disks sitting on our desks instead of CDs. The world of frickin' Firefly could exist sooner than we think.
Oh my
god. The team that developed these optic disks, they've created a few documents to test it out, including the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Newton's Optics, the Magna Carta, and the King James Bible.
Damn.
This stuff wouldn't just last for 13.8 billion years. It also can exist in temperatures up to 350 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, wow. Science. I love science. I just have this major science boner right now, okay?
Science boner?
Science boner!
I've met you. That creates more questions than it answers.
I'm so happy to be the future. We're living in it.
I'm not sure who's better, her or V.
Last up, when it comes to general media news, we've talked before about anime-inspired musicals, have we not?
Yeah,
I believe it's come up.
Naruto, Death Note, and a few others. I was not aware there's a Sailor Moon musical.
I see.
I think that fits it better.
Yeah, it is called Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon Musical, Un Nouveau Voyage, or A New Voyage if you're getting fancy pants there.
Now I've got the damn song stuck in my head. Thank you.
Good job.
Well, I can stick something else in your head in a non-sexual way. There's actually a PV video they've released of the musical.
Okay. Hopefully it'll be better.
All right. I sent the video. February 24th on DVD. Wow. That was sudden.
Yeah.
Get it, ladies.
Is that Sailor Uranus?
Guy.
Yes.
I was wondering about that. It wouldn't be unheard of in Japanese art.
There's Val Cam.
Dude, just stabbing people.
So cute.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure Uranus is a chick, but
yeah,
they're all
Uranus is a girl. Oh, there's Pluto. Oh, it's Saturn. No, it's Saturn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced that Sailor Uranus isn't being played by a guy.
I'm pretty sure it is a guy.
Oh, it's really okay though because there's been a lot of talk about that particular.
I'm not arguing about it. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the role. It seems like a guy.
Well, they do have.
There's a lot of talk about Sailor Scouts' feelings towards themselves regarding gender. And
well, maybe the musical was cast by conservative individuals. Just didn't want the lesbians.
there is a form of theater in Japan where it's all female. Even the roles played by all roles are played by women, even the males.
Now we have Marvel comic news. We talk about the Marvel properties that do end up on the comic book page, and they do seem to be gearing up for the next big event in Marvel, which will be the second Civil War. There's already a little bit of the interiors that have been released online. It's being done by artist David Marquez. You guys want to see what the next Marvel event's going to look like? It won't show you much, but it'll give you a decent idea.
Okay.
Sure.
Take a look. This came out via new. This came out via Newsarama. It's a very short preview involving a couple different alternative covers and then a large splash page including some of the players. And this looks like it's going to be Titanic, really. I don't believe that splash screen with all the characters has to do with one particular side or the other, because there seem to be characters representing both sides in it.
Mine's still loading.
Carol Danvers taking on Thanos. That's interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, Carol Danvers and War Machine, I think, end up on the same side of this particular conflict.
Yeah,
meanwhile, it seems to be Iron Man and She-Hulk who are on the opposite end.
Yeah.
That giant splash page of all those people flying towards something, though, is intimidating in certain respects. Not just from a power scale, but I'm also talking about the amount of ink that had to be used to do that.
Mm.
Oh, you
recognize it. What?
I was, trying to name off all the people that I can recognize. Some of them are hard to see because of how small it is.
Yeah, I can see Sister Grimm. I see Pixie. I see Dazzler, Hawkeye, War Machine, Cable, Hulkling. Cable and Hulkling are near the top of the picture.
Okay.
I see She-Hulk. I see Captain Marvel. I see Spider-Woman, Singularity, Nightcrawler.
Steve Rogers is there. Black Panther.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is in the middle.
Spider-Woman.
I see Thor.
I do see Rogue and Synapse, the Black Panther, Deadpool.
Yeah, Thor's right there in front. Nightcrawler. Spider-Man.
Iceman.
Miss Marvel.
I see Old Man Logan. Sabretooth, too. Actually, I see Sabretooth in this picture, yeah.
Oh, right behind him, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or is he chucking him?
No, he's jumping. I'm very curious to know more about the event, but we won't know the fine details, I'm sure, until after a couple other things occur.
Black Bolt's there, too.
Yeah. Now, the name Jim Steranko I know isn't going to mean much to any of you guys, but Jim Steranko was an artist that made his reputation working at Marvel in the 1960s, and he spent a long amount of time on Nick Fury and Captain America comics.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
He has not done a cover for Marvel since 1989's Nick Fury vs. S.H.I.E.L.D. #1. It's been a while.
Mm.
But with Captain America Sam Wilson #7, he is doing a special variant cover, which just by the man's age and reputation, you can almost guarantee is going to be worth something. Take a look at what he did. It's a Steve Rogers as Captain America cover.
Ooh.
That's definitely his style.
Oh, it looks so good. Wow. I feel like it really captures the character. Yay.
Well, that's definitely Steranko's like 60s and 70s art style, just done up with computer painting as far as color.
Yeah. And the Shield's colors are
off.
Huh? No, it's closer to the original. It's interesting.
The stripes are reversed for some reason.
Yeah.
The red and white stripes are reversed, and I don't quite know why. I don't know if that's... I don't know a whole lot about early Captain America, so I don't know if the Shield ever looked like that. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, me either. That's interesting. I know it looks different. But...
Yeah, it's not bad, though. It's a very striking cover.
Hmm.
A lot of people are going to be looking for signatures on that in a few months, I can bet you.
Yeah.
Now, in the realm of negative news, one of Marvel's writers just signed an exclusive deal with DC.
Okay.
Tom King, he's been working with Marvel for a while now, and he's going to be working for DC exclusively as of this summer. Up until recently, he's been working as the writer of the current Vision series, which has been getting a lot of critical acclaim. He did confirm, though, via Twitter that it's not just a drop-all contract. He's staying with the Vision through issue 12. Issue 4 is the most current issue out already, so he'll be there for a little bit longer to finish up his current run. And then issue 12 is also supposed to be the end of the first major story in the Vision comic. So I've been reading it, and I will say I'm impressed with it, because as much as the Vision is a superhero in Marvel Comics, it's not about him as a superhero. It really isn't. It's about the Vision trying to build a day-to-day life, literally. You remember how he was married to the Scarlet Witch for a long time?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently he wanted to try and feel more normal and wanted a family dynamic. So instead of trying to get to know a woman and get married, he built himself a wife and twins.
Oh, really?
Yeah, brand new AIs. Not even like inhuman robotics. They're a lot like him with the same abilities, strength, density control, and all that.
Wow, okay. Cool.
So it's really weird to watch a couple people with, teenage minds walk around with those powers and trying to relate to other kids. It's creepy as hell.
A little bit, yeah. Wow, okay. That sounds really good, though.
I find it interesting. However, next week, one of my favorite superheroes is coming back in one of its oldest forms.
Oh.
Yeah, ever since All New, All Different Marvel came out, people have been asking, where does Luke Cage fall into all this? He's been Avengers on 2 different teams. He's led the Thunderbolts. How does somebody who's finally risen to A level suddenly get dropped so unceremoniously? Turns out he wasn't dropped. Starting next week, the new Heroes for Hire comics starts up.
Oh.
They're teaming him back up with his old partner, Danny Rand, the Iron Fist, but a couple things have changed. They're no longer just a couple single guys trying to make money via superheroics. Luke Cage now is married with a child who is in toddler phase right now. Mm-hmm. And because of other comics, we found out that she may be the future Captain America, but that's a whole different story. The thing is, though, apparently part of the rules his wife has set out for him is that she's tired of him swearing because she's tired of their daughter yelling all the time.
Do they have a swear jar?
They don't have a swear jar. They're doing something that you guys make fun of me for. Give you an example. Part of the dialogue is Luke Cage and Iron Fist sitting in a car, and Cage tells Danny Rand, "I can't believe you said we do this." Well, it's for Jenny, man. She's family. Yeah, but this is a bunch of fiddle-faddle. What the hell is fiddle-faddle? There's even a panel of Luke Cage lounging on the couch. His wife is leaning into his midsection. There's the daughter yelling expletives, and Jessica Jones just has this perturbed look on her face as she says, "Luke, I love you, sweetie, but you've got to do something about the swearing." So it gets even better because they're outside a building, and then Cage says again, can't believe we're doing this. You already said that, man. Jenny is family, and you said that. Just let me do all the talking, okay? This guy is a bad knick-knack paddywhack. A bad
what? My god. Jeremy, if you ever said that, I would lose my shit.
He just did.
In daily conversation around your family, I would die.
You have not been in daily conversation around my family. The worst part is it carries over. I will not forget, not long after I had my second child, I was visiting Steve and Jesse in their house, and we were sitting around, we were drinking Mountain Dew, we were just laughing about all kinds of stuff, one of the few times the TV is off, and I just said, what was it? I looked at him and just said, "Man, that's fricked up," and Steve puts down his bottle and says, "Are you okay?" I said, "I'm fine." "Why? What's fricked up mean?" "Oh, you know what it means." "No, I don't. What does that mean?" "Dude, I got kids." "Oh, right. Okay." Said, "All right, now that we've had enough of that, man, I got to go potty." And that's when Jesse just kind of looks at me and says, "Do you need help?"
Oh, I'm so happy.
What's that mean?
Yes.
Really?
But some Marvel comics came out this past week, and we finally have a glimpse of the spring event for Marvel. Remember, we've talked about on and off Avengers Standoff, something to do with this mysterious town called Pleasant Hill.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
And a special called Avengers Standoff Welcome to Pleasant Hill #1 was released this week. Oh my frack, does this get frickin' complicated, dude. The Winter Soldier is back from his man-on-the-wall mission. He's no longer up in space watching out for cosmic level things that are going to encounter the Earth.
Uh-huh.
He came down to investigate something going on, something Maria Hill started.
Oh.
Yes, and as he was checking out an installation and checking a playback, whatever experiment they were running down there went out of control and exploded. But before he could find out what it was, he was ambushed by S.H.I.E.L.D. agents and knocked out. Next thing you know, this mysterious guy with blonde hair named Jim wakes up inside Pleasant Hill with no memories. None. Can't remember where he's been, what he was doing. Spends the next 2 weeks trying to escape before he finally tells the therapist, the local therapist, that he's decided to stay. You know, he's going to try and be a part of the community. Now, the doctor in charge of the town is a doctor named Eric Selvig. If you recall, Eric Selvig is the name of the elderly astrophysicist in the Thor movies.
Okay.
It got kind of better because I realized that the therapist he was talking to, he kept calling him Bruce, and Bruce kept mentioning that before he came to Pleasant Hill, he kept having all these weird anger issues.
Oh, no.
To catch up Elise, Bruce is very likely Bruce Banner.
Whoa! Really?
Yeah, I see I don't need any further explanation on that particular name.
Yeah. Oh
So,
my god, that's really
yeah,
cool.
So Jim, as he keeps talking to the therapist, he keeps getting these weird images of guns and this silver arm coming at him. So you can imagine who this is supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You know, obviously the Winter Soldier disappeared, this guy appeared. It seems like this is a pretty good fit. So as Jim is walking down the street one day, there's a fire in a house, and he runs in and rescues a baby, but he thought he heard another voice, so he ran back in. There's a man with a neckerchief around his face complaining that it took him long enough to get back there after he went through all the trouble setting the fire. The guy invites Jim to come to his little special location, and he set the fire so they could have a talk with Jim without the cameras. Turns out Eric Selvig, the psychiatrist, and the local mayor of Pleasant Hill, Mayor Maria Hill, are all in charge of this place, and he wants to talk to him off the grid. So Jim agrees to meet this man, who it turns out has this real thing about taking apart machines and rebuilding it. To him, it seemed to be kind of a subconscious thing until he accidentally built a device that restored all of his memories.
They had forged there.
No.
Okay.
He invited Jim to stand in front of this device with him so they could both regain their memories in full. And when he turned it on, this guy who kept messing with machines turned into the Tinkerer.
Okay.
A classic Marvel villain who's known for building all kinds of fancy machines. And when Jim was done with it, you know, and like I said, he had all these images of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents coming at him and a silver arm. You know, and this was the same time the Winter Soldier disappeared. But standing in front of the machine with the Tinkerer is Baron Zemo.
Oh, this is going to be bad.
And that's where this ends. So Pleasant Hill is a next-level penal colony. The reason why it was set up was because S.H.I.E.L.D. was tired of building prisons that people just keep breaking out of. They wanted to build an inescapable prison where nobody wants to escape. So this suddenly answers several questions as to what Maria Hill's been up to, and where in the hell has Bruce Banner gone while Amadeus chose the Hulk? This doesn't answer where the Winter Soldier went to, and I found a couple synopses that explained how this place was built. And this is why this is dangerous. Pleasant Hill, the experiment that created it,
was
built on shards of a cosmic cube.
Oh, okay, not as bad as I was thinking, but still bad.
Dude, it's a shattered cosmic cube. Unstable cosmic power? This is not good.
Yeah. I was thinking he did something with the Sentry.
Oh, dude, it's nothing that heinous. But this also explains that all-new Avengers synopsis we read, where the Avengers were having trouble in Pleasant Hill because they couldn't remember they were Avengers.
Right, because there's no guarantee that it's going to not affect people because it's an unstable cosmic cube.
Correct. Which also might explain that mysterious character who showed up on the cover of the Thunderbolts, that blue and white girl. What if one of the shards of the cosmic cube was sentient?
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm forming that theory anyway. And there was also a recent Marvel comic where Doctor Doom was saved by cosplay.
What?
This has to do with the unbeatable Squirrel Girl.
Oh, God.
There's a current storyline going on where Squirrel Girl was sent back to the 1960s. It was a complete accident via time machine. The problem is, standing in Squirrel Girl's place is Doctor Doom. And no, not the current Doctor Doom, the 1960s Doctor Doom.
Oh.
Oh.
The guy with the armor, the messed up face, the regal poise, the leopard print cloak. That Doctor Doom.
Leopard print?
Maybe leopard print is the wrong word, but it is definitely some kind of forest cat.
So he's my great aunt.
Basically, yes.
What you're saying.
Yeah. So, Squirrel Girl's roommate at the time is walking Doom around trying to keep him busy so he doesn't do anything stupid. They run directly into the current Jubilee, the vampire Jubilee, who's getting ready to knock him the frick out until the roommate explains, this is not Doctor Doom, this is a cosplayer.
Oh
so
my God.
Jubilee takes a really good look at this Doom, whips out a cell phone and takes a selfie with it, saying, seriously, dude, you've got the character down.
Aww. That's so A+.
Awesome.
Oh, it gets even better, because not long after Jubilee left, they continue walking down the street, and somebody stops in front of them on a motorcycle. The guy looks at them and says, hey, Doom, you really think the Punisher cares about your precious diplomatic immunity? Judgment Right is motorcycle, Doc, and cosplay, it's just cosplay. Ah, sorry, my bad.
Really?
Yep.
That's
Frank
so
Castle
great.
gave it a pass.
Oh my God. I'm really happy that exists.
Little bit of sad story when it comes to Marvel Comics, though. The artist on Deadpool needs help.
Oh.
His name is Riley Brown. He doesn't need help because he's getting unemployed. He doesn't need help because Deadpool is canceled. He needs help because of a real-life problem. His family lives in Hoboken, New Jersey, and his apartment was nearly completely... it was severely damaged after fire.
Oh.
He's actually taking a really interesting route, though. You know, when a lot of people end up in trouble these days, they end up on crowdfunders. You know, GoFundMe, Kickstarter, and stuff like that.
Right.
He has not gone that route. What he's done is he's encouraging people who would like to help to buy original art or commission him at upcoming conventions to help pay for the repairs.
Oh, that's what I did when my dad died. Cool. Okay, now I want to buy his art.
I don't know where Riley Brown is appearing. I'd actually like to get a list of his upcoming so you could find out. But if you want to get a commission from him, you can contact him through his website at RileyBrownArt.com. All you need to do is send him the name of the convention and the word commission in the subject line, and he'll put you in a reserved commission list.
That's so cool.
He'll make you a priority.
That's
so
really awesome.
You know, at least it sounds kind of wrong to say tit for tat, but at the same time, that's basically what you're getting. You're helping him out, and in exchange, he's getting you a one-of-a-kind art piece, which is really kind of him considering the situation.
Yeah, actually, okay, I don't want it to be too personal or mushy, but I really relate to what he's doing because I've done it, and I can honestly
I got a
say
list.
it really helps you deal with it too, like emotional. I don't know. So it's really cool that he's doing that, and I really hope that a lot of people support him in that. That's so amazing.
Yeah, where's he going, Jesse?
Saturday, March 5th, Big Apple Comic Con. Sunday,
Okay.
April 3rd, Comic Art Con, and I have no idea how to pronounce it, but it's in New Jersey.
It's called New Jersey.
It's got a city name. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. June 17th through the 19th, Heroes Con in Charlotte, North Carolina.
The Heroes Con is a big deal. That's a good show.
June 25th through the 26th in Massive Comic Con in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Yep.
And he's going to be at San Diego.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Maybe we should email him and see about stopping by.
Cool. I mean,
if he's going to be there.
DeviantArt account right now.
Okay. Well, may have to check that out later. And last up in Marvel comic news comes a series that I wasn't looking for, and frankly, this would blow some conspiracy theories out of the water.
Okay.
And I think I can explain that just by describing the title of this upcoming Marvel comic. It's being written by Ben Acker and Ben Blacker, Danilo Beyruth is illustrating. Kevin Wada is doing the covers on their new upcoming miniseries starting this June, Deadpool and Gambit.
What?
I heard about this. I didn't.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry. I misread the title. The title is Deadpool versus Gambit.
Okay, it sounded like a sitcom, so I was like,
The thing is,
not
though,
sure it's. I think it still might be.
The thing is, though, this kind of blows away the conspiracy theories about Marvel hating Fox-owned media properties, because here they are creating a new comic based on 2 of them.
That's so cool.
Let alone 2 of them that have solo movies upcoming. You know, if you follow the conspiracy theorists, they think that Marvel has been purposefully sinking the comics of any property that Fox owns the media rights to. And yet here they are making a new comic on them. Wow, it sucks to be weird. There's not much story here about what this comic book will be about, other than it's going to delve into their, quote, secret shared history, unquote.
Oh, let's see, a professional thief and a professional assassin? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they cross paths once in a while.
Deadpool is pansexual, so this could be just about anything.
Hey!
Oh, God. Yeah.
Now we have DC Comic News, and DC Comic News exploded with some information this week. We talked over the last couple of weeks that there's some kind of mysterious thing upcoming called Rebirth, but there wasn't any detail behind it. Details have now come. Rebirth, according to their chief creative officer, Jeff Johns, is to get back to what they call the essence of the characters. Quote, in the DC Universe Rebirth special, the very first couple of lines sum it up as to what this is to me. There's a picture of the world, and the mysterious narrator says, I love this world, but there's something missing, unquote. Now, Rebirth is supposed to bring back several character foibles, as well as bring back what some of the things they think is missing, like a sense of legacy. A good example on that, there will now be a Justice Society of America comic. They're going to be zeroing in on the Aquaman book. Batgirl is going to be leaving Burnside and rejoining the Birds of Prey, is some of the changes they're talking about in the Rebirth. Johns is also stepping down from writing Justice League after April's issue number 50. He's going to be leaving the book, and he thinks it's going to be leaving on a high with the end of the Darkseid War coming. Now, further on in the Rebirth, like I said, some of the changes are going to be the fact that there will no longer be 52 books, but 15 books will be shipping twice every month.
Oh.
There are... I don't know. There are certain books in Marvel right now that have shipped bi-monthly on a limited basis. That included a lot of books starting out from the all-new, all-different era. Rebirth, though, they plan on doing that monthly. And it appears that some of the new 52 mainstays, like Earth 2, Red Hood and the Outlaws, and Deathstroke, will still have their own stories. But DC is going to be more focused on their core characters, including Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Green Lantern, and The Flash. Superman is going to have a number of spin-off titles, including The Superman, Supergirl, Superwoman, and Super Sons, as well as Action Comics returning to its original numbering, starting with number 957. One of the Batman books, Detective Comics, will also be returning to its original numbering, number 934. There will also be a Nightwing series. It won't be Grayson anymore. There will be 2 Teen Titans books, both Titans and Teen Titans. The Blue Beetle is getting his own book. Cyborg is still getting a book. But as we talked about, Batgirl is leaving Burnside and rejoining the Birds of Prey. You know, most of that stuff I consider very basic as to what DC needs to do to turn it around, and I can agree with that. However, Batgirl leaving Burnside, I'm not behind that.
Yeah, that kind of disappoints me a little bit. I enjoyed that.
It was one of the few books that had a very different feel and was being well received by readers. You know, in addition to this show, I admit we liked it a lot, but just what they've done with that book was they made something very far outside the norm at DC, and it was working pretty well for them. So I don't agree with that particular takeaway. It is nice, though, that since Supergirl is finding some success in TV, they're finally putting the character back in the comics.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's been a Superwoman for a while.
Not since the Lucy Lane character that appeared pre-Flashpoint and was killed off in like 6 months after taking the costume. I don't know if I want to get into that at the moment.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. So, we finally have an idea as to what's going on. Yeah. Okay. That's a point to you, sir. Unfortunately, there are several characters that don't seem to have there are several comic books that don't seem to have announcements about their series continuing after this rebirth goes on. And those titles include Black Canary, Dr. Fate, Justice League 3001, Midnighter, Martian Manhunter, Secret Six, Harley's Little Black Book, Catwoman, Robin, Son of Batman, We Are Robin, and Sinestro. But some current titles actually seem to be continuing because they have logical connection to parts of Rebirth, like Titan's Hunt, Superman, Lois and Clark, and Super Sons. Also, the Batman Superman and Superman Wonder Woman series seem to be ending in favor of becoming a new series called Trinity. If I have to explain that, I think we're missing the point of having the podcast.
I'm in the dark.
I'm sorry, you're new, so you deserve an explanation. The Trinity is the pop culture name given to DC's big three heroes: Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
You know, they're the big three heroes, so people have taken to calling them the Trinity, so now there's a series coming called Trinity. So,
and then the joke's
that's what
on
that
us,
is.
and it's actually from The Matrix. Haha.
Or it's Billy Numerous. We discussed that Tom King, the current writer on The Vision, signed an exclusive contract with DC as part of the Rebirth. Two other people they've signed to exclusive contracts would be artists Clay Mann and John Timms. Mann is currently illustrating Poison Ivy, Circle of Life and Death. He came to DC after having previous exclusive contracts with Marvel and Valiant. And John Timms has been a regular artist on DC's Harley Quinn books. So they're not new to DC, but now they are exclusive to DC. As far as DC Comics goes, it seems like they're finally rolling the character of Harley Quinn into a direction that can be more standalone, finally. Remember how we talked about the origin of Harley Quinn has changed post-Flashpoint into this weird, I am the way I am because you dunked me in toxic waste?
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, disappointed with that.
In the most recent Harley Quinn comic book, number 25, Harley Quinn was breaking her current boyfriend, I think his name is Mason, out of prison. It just so happens that as soon as she got him out, somebody grabbed the bars in the door next to Mason's, and those hands were white and them fingernails were green, and he was yelling, "Aren't you forgetting something?" So, yes, she encountered the Joker, who had been working all that time to poison Mason's mind against Harley Quinn, and she agreed to open the door to his cage so she could beat the ever-loving crap out of him.
Yep.
The two of them got into a hell of a fist fight, and, you know, even though she got the better of him and just told him to lie there and bleed. Actually, let me read you the panels as she's kicking the crap out of him, because it gets mental, and it's finally this character, post-Flashpoint anyway, taking a huge step forward. "I hate you for what you bring out in me. All I wanted to do was talk to you, and here we are mucking around with each other's marbles and pounding each other to a pulp, as usual. 'Cause every time we get together, that's what we do. It's not my thing, I don't like it, and I'm done with it. I'm not your toy anymore, understand? You did mean something to me at one time, but that time is over. If I ever hear from you or see you again, if you ever mess with my family or my friends, I'm not going to be as nice as I was today, and I'll finish your alabaster ass for good. Now, do yourself a favor, and for once in your miserable life, say nothing. No chatting, no chortling, just lie there and bleed."
That was so good.
But this is the Joker.
Yeah, and he continued to push her buttons, so she pulled a gun from an unconscious guard and put it right to his forehead. He sat there and started to chuckle. She dropped the gun and said, "I finally get why Batman never just killed you all these years. It would give you exactly what you want." So, oh my god, the character finally takes a step forward, but it just occurred to me they're doing this whole rebirth thing, so it could be undone again. Go figure, right?
Yeah.
But, as it turns out, though, Harley Quinn is getting a new special as part of Rebirth on April 6th. It's going to be called Harley Quinn and the Suicide Squad April Fool Special #1. We saw the standard cover that came out a while ago. Remember it was Harley Quinn with that helmet?
Right.
And all the plushies coming around? It's getting a variant cover.
Oh.
You guys want to see what new magic Jim Lee has put together for this?
Of course.
Harley Quinn sky surfing on the Man Bat.
Oh God. Okay.
Just like the previous cover to this, just like the previous cover we saw to this one, I'd like this as a poster. I'd like it as a print. I'd like it in canvas. I'd want this on a wall. This is awesome.
So cool.
Now we have general comic and convention news. We talk about comics that are not Marvel and DC related, as well as news from conventions all around the world. Man, Comic-Con will not stop. They announced their 6th wave of guests for 2016.
Wow.
This is a crew I'm not as familiar with. We have Mike Barron, who's a writer and co-creator of The Nexus and Badger. Michael Barrier, the author and comics and animation historian on funny books and Hollywood cartoons. Ben Hotke, writer-artist on Zeta, the Space Girl trilogy, and Little Robot. And Trina Robbins, the writer and artist and historian on Pretty in Pink, The Brinkley Girls, Tarp Mills, and Miss Fury. Now, this is in addition to who they've already announced, which is Jason Aaron, Kate Beaton, Emily Carroll, Howard Chaykin, Daniel Close, Peter David, Matt Fraction, Ramona Fradon, Kieran Gillen, Paul Gulacy, Lisa Hanawit, Keith Knight, Jamie McElvey, Marissa Meyer, Patrick Rothfuss, Brian Selznick, Alex Sinclair, Jeff Smith, Noelle Stevenson, and Babs Tarr. I think they have 10 waves of special guests before they stop talking about them. And, believe it or not, news about exclusives is already coming.
Oh.
Yeah, who's the biggest exclusive dealer you guys think on the floor?
Hasbro.
Yeah. Word is that there will be not just a new Star Wars figures coming out of the Hasbro booth as an exclusive this year. Word is it will be a Star Wars Rogue One figure. There is no information about which character will be getting the exclusive treatment. Last year, it was the First Order Stormtrooper. There was a regular sale version in stores. However, the Comic-Con version on the floor retailed for $20. By the time you got home from that weekend, it was worth $60 on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the only exclusive news we have. Kid Robot is also coming out with their creepy ass line that they call the Anatom. Oh no, I'm sorry. They call it their Dark Wabbit. Basically, it is a vinyl stand-up of Bugs Bunny, but half of him is done up like one of those anatomical figures you find in high school classes.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. They hope to have the first batch of Dark Wabbits available by San Diego Comic-Con. It may not be an exclusive, but it'll be your chance to get your hands on one. But McFarlane Toys will have a special resin statue exclusive available at Comic-Con. You can pre-order the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon on a motorcycle shooting a couple zombies through the head with a crossbow. That statue is going to retail for $295.
Oh, not bad though.
I bet they'll get it.
That'll probably sell. Do you know how hot Daryl Dixon is among the ladies who are fans of that show?
He is the one. Basically, he's the one guy who everyone's just like, marry me.
Norman Reedus on that show causes a lot of fluids to run, and it's not all zombie blood. Let's put it that way.
Oh, how many fluids?
However, there is news about an actual exclusive that is coming via Funko Pop to Comic-Con 2016. And it has to do with another property making a return. Funko is going to offer exclusives at Comic-Con of the Powerpuff Girls.
What?
Oh yeah, I saw the. Or I listened to their latest music video or opening theme.
Intro, yeah.
Yeah, so Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup are going to be in boxes at Comic-Con. I just hope Funko solves the issue they had with their exclusive sales. Last year, they accidentally turned into a mess. Hopefully this year, they'll have all the bugs worked out.
Yeah.
You guys recall the story behind that,
I assume. Crowd back there. No.
What happened was, at the beginning of Comic-Con 2015, on Thursday, and I believe Friday, it was just you line up outside their booth. But the problem was it created such a logjam of people trying to get exclusive Funkos. On Saturday, they implemented a ticket policy, but unfortunately, they forgot to post anywhere that they were doing a ticket policy. So people were standing at the inlet doors to the hall with tickets, and fans were walking right by them with no clue. The people that work for Funko were practically shoving tickets into the hands of people walking by, and people were ignoring it, thinking it was another flyer for or advertisement for something else going on in the area, and were just kicking them away. So people were walking all the way to the back corner of the Comic-Con exhibit hall, which is not easy if you know what you're talking about. Finding out when they got back there, they didn't have a ticket to buy, so they had to walk back to the front to find some mystery guy that was at the front with the tickets, and then make your way again to the back corner of the exhibit hall.
Right.
Yeah, there were a lot of people complaining on Saturday, justifiably. That was bad.
Yeah, they should have done better about communicating what they were doing.
Yeah, like I said, hopefully this year they'll have all that worked out, because if that happens again, there will be ugliness, and that's the only way to put it. However, Comic-Con's sister convention, WonderCon, the thing I have to go to at the end of next month, which I now don't have a roommate for because of money stuff, whole different problem, but not the issue at hand. They have somebody coming that would make V strangle the ever-loving blackness out of me. Jesse, Steve.
Yes.
Brett Dalton is going to WonderCon. You're not tracking who that is, are you?
Jesse's got himself muted.
Muted again. Yeah, I know who it's Ward from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes. Agent Ward from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to be making an appearance at WonderCon. He's going to be there March 26th and 27th. Like I said, that's information V would change my race over. And she would do it with gusto, and you guys know this.
Mm.
So,
Sorry
if
for not changing your race. I don't know.
Because V gets moist for Brett Dalton. Let's just lay it out there on Front Street.
I just learned something about V.
Yeah. Brett Dalton is definitely in her butter zone. She doesn't get moist for Chris. No, she doesn't get moist for Chris Hemsworth. She runs over crowds for Chris Hemsworth.
She's gonna watch Ghostbusters then.
Yeah, V. At one point on this show, we joked that she would love to be surrounded by Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pine, and who is Chris Evans. She would love to be surrounded by naked Chris, basically.
I don't blame her. Chris's are great.
Also, Image Comics is reopening their Image Expo on April 6th. It's going to be in conjunction with the Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle, Washington. Announced guests for this Image Expo are Jonathan Hickman, Layla DeLuca, Rick Remender, Allison Sampson, and Joe Harris, with more expected to be announced. This will take place on April 6th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Showbox Market Theater. The theater only has a stated capacity of 1,100, so if you can get tickets to it, it might be a pretty hot show. Now, the next bit of convention news bothers me to a certain degree, except it's the kind of bothers me that you knew was coming, you just weren't sure when. Stan Lee has announced that after this year, he will no longer be making convention stops in Canada.
Oh, why?
Yeah. Fan Expo in Canada this September will be his last public appearance to the country. He put it in his own statement, quote, "It's so pleasant to go somewhere where people like you and want to hear what you have to say. It's very flattering. But I'm 93 years old. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to do it. I want to make this one big event. I can't run the marathon and win the way I used to," unquote.
Yeah.
Now, this is not unprecedented by Stan, because a couple years ago in 2014 during the London Film and Comic-Con, he announced that would be his final European convention. There is no word as to what kind of impact there may be in the near future on his American convention schedule, but he is drawing the circle much closer these days.
Yeah.
And I don't think he'll stop necessarily doing a lot of local things. He still does have a hand in I'm not going to say a deep hand, but a hand in running Kamikaze. And I don't think there's anything short of running him through the chest with a pike will you stop him from going to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like he said, he's 93. That clock ticks for all of us.
Yeah. I mean, he impresses the hell out of me. My grandmother is 91, and she's not doing near so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, I hope he's got something left in him, but even he says that the tank is starting to run low, you know?
Yeah. It's just a thing that happens. And it's really cool that he still attends at all, honestly. Not even just at his age, but some people much more able, much younger, just don't care to interact with the fans.
To be fair, though, he has a different reason for doing it, because he gets $120 per signature.
True. Well,
you know,
set, at least.
There is something to be said about getting $120 for 5 seconds of your time, literally.
Yeah, he's doing well.
Yeah. There's a spin-off comic coming that I guess I should have expected, but I didn't. You guys know that there is a Power Rangers revival in comic books, right? You know, the movies are coming, they created a comic book. There's already a spin-off comic coming out of the Power Rangers. Believe it or not, the Pink Ranger is getting her own comic book.
Oh,
I heard about that.
It's going to be a solo series for the character of Kimberly Hart. It's going to be done by Batgirl's Brendan Fletcher, Gem and the Holograms' Kelly Thompson, and Mirror Edge's Exordium's Daniel Di Nicuolo. So they're hiring some serious talent to work on this book. First issue of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Pink #1 comes out in May. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Pink #1. That sounds like that could be the title of a hentai book.
It is a Sentai book.
Sentai hentai, great. Rosie Press has announced that they've signed a deal with independent comic publisher Oni Press to take their digital anthology Fresh Romance into print. Their first attempt is going to be a 224-page collection, including the stories of Schoolgirl. We're back on this Sentai hentai. School Spirit by Kate Leth and Ariel Jovanos. The Ruby Equation by Sarah Kuhn and Sally Jane Thompson. Beauties by Marguerite Bennett, who recently wrote stories of Captain Marvel and Trungles. And the first chapter is Sarah Vaughn and Sarah Winfred Searle's Ruined. This is going to come out as of July. Rosie Press launched a Kickstarter companion for this, and people can order an exclusive edition of the print book and raise more money and capital for Rosie Press. The 7th issue of Fresh Romance is due out on February 24th. Sounds like these people are really chugging along with their project. Now, there's another Kickstarter that came out that I am extremely curious about. It's a new comic series called Black, and I posted it on Facebook. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No.
I must have missed it.
Oh, this intrigues the hell out of me. Now, remember back when Stan Lee and Jack Kirby started the X-Men and the mutants were an allegory for minorities in America, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The difference was, instead of being, some of them were obviously different, but most of it had to do with basically the idea of superpower setting you apart from normal society. Black is a different kind of story that tells the same sort of story. The paradigm of Black is, what if the black people were the ones that developed superpowers?
So they're just cutting out the middleman.
Pretty much. It's going to be a 6-issue series coming later this year. It's going to be illustrated by Jamal Engel and covers by Kerry Randolph. I'm intrigued by the story, because not only is it literally just taking the metaphors out of the mutant storyline, but it also feels like a variation on the pop culture profiling we used to do. What if normal people developed superpowers all of a sudden? The Kickstarter to get this started had a goal of $29,999. In the first day, they jumped past it. The Kickstarter has 8 days to go. It has 2,065 backers. Currently sits at $70,522. I admit to being very curious about this myself. I'd like to see how this story develops.
Yeah.
Just if you back it for just $10, you already get PDF files of all 6 planned issues.
Oh wow, that's a good deal.
Oh yeah, for $25, you get the limited edition 160-page black and white paperback.
Hmm.
So I'm really curious. Who is a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender? The original one, not the Shyamalan version.
Yeah.
Me.
Well, good news for you guys. As of 2016, Dark Horse Comics is making a line of in-canon graphic novel series to continue the story of Aang and his friends past the end of the series.
Oh my god!
Oh, cool.
Huh.
Yay!
They've already started doing some of that, but...
Well, the creative team of Jin Yang and Gahuru are working on it. It's called Avatar: The Last Airbender North and South. It's going to be an all-new tale that was made in collaboration with the creators of Avatar and The Legend of Korra, Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko.
I'm so happy right now.
So the first known issue comes out September 28th of this year.
Okay, I'll have to keep an eye out.
Well, it's a graphic novel series, so that'll be an anthology book coming out. Part 2 arrives January 25th, 2017. Part 3 comes out April 26th, 2017. Just reading those dates got me kind of curious. September 28th. Awfully close to this little shindig going on in San Diego.
Oh.
I mean, you haven't been there, Elise, but you'd be surprised. People come out with stuff about 3 months early if they can get a limited run of it out in San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh.
I mean, I think it's fair to say that's a habit. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
And Dark Horse always has a booth.
Oh, me likey.
And last up in general media news, anybody a fan of the Sherlock series with Benedict Cumberbatch?
Well, I watched it. I'm not huge on it. But
I'm aware of its existence.
Okay, then you guys may not be as interested to know that there is a manga adaptation of it in Japan.
Excuse me?
Well, that's not the story. The story is that Titan Comics signed a contract to bring all those manga adaptations westward.
Nice. I did hear about this, actually.
The second volume was based on the show's second episode, The Blind Baker, and it's been translated by fans desperate for anything about Sherlock to fill in the gaps in the show. The manga was officially sanctioned by Martin Freeman.
Oh, really? Wait, yeah. He's the guy who played freaking... Okay. Wow,
yeah.
Okay.
So this thing is coming to Western Shores. No release dates have been announced as of yet, but Titan's adaptations will be available in both the US and the UK, in June of this year. Titan Comics, June. That's awfully close to this little thing going on in San Diego. Go figure.
Get her.
I've been trying to catch up on Durarara the last couple days.
Mm-hmm.
I have this really sudden urge to go back and start binge watching Shimonetta.
I've been watching The Devil is a Part-Timer because I never finished it.
Oh, I love that show. That's a good show.
It's great. Yeah, so good.
I really wish that they would hurry up and finish translating more of the manga because it goes longer, but yeah. We all know how that goes.
Yeah.
I started it a while ago, so I'm happy I'm getting back into it.
Not a lot of good new series this season, I've noticed.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot that really caught my eye, other than the second season of Gate. I enjoyed that.
I'm on the fence with that. It's one of those stories that I could have gotten interested in, except a lot of the events that happen in the series are kind of transparent as to how they could possibly turn out.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not much of a suspense. Yeah, the lesser technological nation is going to get its ass kicked, but
the medieval army versus Marines is kind of transparent.
Fighting the dragon was kind of interesting.
You know, Durarara kind of struck me sideways, because as I was watching him, I'm just like, this is a bunch of people who have all these weird superhumans around them and just think of this as normal life. And then it hit me. This is like the Japanese equivalent of the Marvel Universe, right here in animated form. Isn't Ikebukuro in Durarara a lot like New York in Marvel? There's all this weird crap happening, but somehow you're living a normal life around it.
Yeah, it's like nobody even notices until the aliens start invading. It's like,
right.
Wait, this is a world problem?
All right, and last up we have the WTF corner. It's those stories from across the internet that just make you question humanity's role in this universe and why nothing has wiped us out yet. And being that it's the WTF corner, we always start with video game videos. Videos from YouTube that show incredible plays, physics fails, or bugs that just make you spend another $60 on another damn controller. And first off, the first video is from Fallout 4. Yeah, this came from the channel of user Michael Finelli, Finelli. And the title of it all pretty much says what's in the video. It's called Fallout 4 Accidental Headshot.
Oh.
Yep. And you know how I usually say it's not what you're thinking of? This is exactly what you're thinking of. I sent the video. Okay, so we unpause. He's playing with the Pip-Boy. Never played one of these, so I don't quite know how that works. And you see all these mutants in here, right?
Yep.
And head came off. Poor scientist just ran right in front of the beam stream, and her head popped off like a soda can. He's taking a while to take down this mutant thing. So that was the long and short of that video. That poor scientist, she died so quickly there wasn't even a chance for her to register shock.
It was just done.
Like, running. I'm not running.
Plip. Next up is a Just Cause 3 video. This one came from user channel New Logan 333, so he's probably like 8. But he calls this video the Stylish Prisoner Rescue.
Stylish Prisoner Rescue.
Yes, RuPaul was sitting in the passenger seat. No, I'm kidding. But I did send the video.
Okay.
So there you are on the highway, and you're trying to catch up to something, right?
Yep. Crazy taxi.
Yeah. Well, the idea is you're supposed to catch up to this vehicle and hijack it to get whoever's in it to a safe place.
Uh-huh.
See it up there? He's catching up to it fast.
Yep.
So you pop out of the car and you're going to do an action jump, but the car gets punted! And it's spinning down the hill.
Oh my
the
God.
driver out still.
Running through trees, but wait for it.
Hi.
Keep driving. He's driving to a hill, comes to a stop, and guess what? You're safe.
What is the situation?
Oh
Respond.
my God.
Done.
Alright, that was slick.
What,
that
you get
was
the car
slick.
punted by the one you jump off of and just hope you fly to freedom?
That was seriously slick.
Okay, and I have a video from a game we've never used on the show before. Yeah, anyone familiar with the game Dying Light?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I have not played it myself. It's one of those zombie survival horror type things. Well,
Yeah,
zombie
I've
may be the
never
wrong
played it
word.
myself. I am familiar.
Yeah, mutant survival horror would probably be the better term for it. This one came from the channel of Preter Pixie, Preterpixie. And the title of it sounds pretty simple. It's called Viral Goes Nuts, which has so many different connotations to it, but fortunately it's a little more tame than that. I sent the video. So there you are running up there, and this Viral goes crazy on ya. And she starts flipping around like she knows capoeira.
Alright, that's a physics fail.
Yeah, you can see the spitting arms and legs, and apparently it's still attacking, I guess.
How are you supposed to hit that?
I don't know, it's like fighting a coked up Macaulay Culkin. I don't know. Which I guess is a normal Macaulay Culkin, but I digress. The next video is from a game we're starting to get pretty damn familiar with. It is Rainbow Six Siege.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, oh my god. I had to sit down and watch it because I was trying to understand what was so special. And you really have to look for it. It's a little bit of a long video, too, at about 80 seconds. But when it happens, you will so understand why I added this video. And unfortunately, the title will not help you understand it. This came from the channel of Sleaze Cheese, spelled like it sounds. And he titles this video, just wait for it, ranked 3 versus 5.
Huh.
I know. I sent the video. So there you see a guy in a sniper's rifle, right?
Mm-hmm. Did he just
blind take a shot through the wall, them? And he just blind shot somebody. He hit somebody else, and he took down another one.
Two down.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah. Oh wow! Look at that range.
I know. So now it's 2-on-4, and he's still staring through this little hole that he's been threading the needle through.
They're probably getting resurrected anyway. So.
But the guy on his team that just went in there died, so he's by himself against 4 of them. Not good news, wouldn't you say?
Is this a Deadpool movie he's gonna pull off?
No. So he's kind of stuck, and he's trying to think. He's taking plunking shots. He damaged them, but he didn't kill anything. Typing furiously, trying to understand what to do next. Still watching his sight lines, but getting nothing.
I believe in you, man.
So he repositions, leans over, takes a shot, and win.
What?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Watch the replay and watch the upper right-hand corner, because he takes a shot and 4 markers pop up. He killed 4 in 1.
Yeah, that was a Deadpool move.
How?
Awesome.
They need a replay function on this game so you can see the bullet trail.
I did take a good look at the black and white replay, and when he took a shot, something big fell down, so all I can guess is the 4 of them were moving as a unit, and he took the unit. You know, their good plan worked against them, unfortunately. And I've got one more video, and this one is definitely new to us. I have a Street Fighter V video.
Oh, boy.
Yep. This one came from the channel of user Ryfox, WRYFYX. And the title of the video kind of buries the lead. Sorry. This one is called Vega Endless Flight Glitch.
Okay.
I sent the video. So Chun-Li is taking on Vega there. A couple of hard kicks. I've noticed that Vega's claw seems to be on his hip.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he does his rolling move. Good evasion. Kicking the crap out of her. So this is where it gets weird. She sweeps. Super and gone!
Up
and
and
he's
away.
still going.
Still going. Yeah.
Back to Krypton goes Vega.
This might be a connection issue.
And you can hear Chun-Li kicking. She's looking for him, but he won't come down. Into the stratosphere he goes. And finally
Yep,
user
that was a
says,
connection
screw it,
issue.
I'm done.
Yeah, that was a lag bug.
That is the cheesiest menu music I've ever heard. And I've been around for a while. That's gotta be horrible. Find out Vega's superhuman and it does you no good. Australia deals with some unusual problems. I gotta admit. There is kind of an issue going on right now where they have this unusual tumbleweed growing in the town of Wangaratta. Or Wangaratta, Australia, okay? It's the residents of northeast Victoria, and they're getting this extreme tumbleweed growth. Unfortunately, there's not a lot they can do about it because there's an extreme fire risk of dealing with this tumbleweed. They call it yellow bighead. And
sounds like
actually,
something I'd have in my skin.
Whose heads are you cutting off and putting in your sink? But if you want an example of why this tumbleweed is more serious than the kind of stuff you find in like the deserts out here in the West, take a look at this image. This is yellow bighead. That is fuzzy tumbleweed, taller than a person.
Oh my god!
Whoa.
Now, here's one more image of somebody's patio, and I got to give the Australians credit. If the town doesn't shut down under this kind of pressure, I don't know what could stop them short of a beer shortage. Now, take a look at this, man. It is like up to eye level.
Oh my god!
Outside someone's patio.
I don't want that in California. Okay.
I kind of want it.
That's a fire hazard right there. Oh,
it is a fire hazard. Yellow bighead, when it occurs in Australia, has a better nickname that I would love to use if this occurred out here. It's called the hairy panic.
Oh, that's amazing.
This looks like the video. This looks like a video from the 70s from when a woman takes off her pants. I mean, this is a lot of fuzz.
Whoa.
It's amazing. It's one of those things where it's not one of the sad or unusual WTFs, but it was one of those things I was staring at going, I would definitely stand in front of my window and go, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you guys know a lot of cartoons and movies when they tend to be based in locations like the jungle or the Amazon, they always seem to show these weird broiling rivers. You always wonder where this kind of idea comes from. Turns out that recently, deep in the heart of the Amazon, there's been a legend of a river that's so hot it boils from below. A geoscientist named Andre Russo found such a river.
Wow.
He found a river in the Mayan Tuyacu that actually has geothermic cavities underneath it that cause the river to boil from underneath.
Wow.
There's an image here.
The entire thing, or
I'm not sure. There's a sacred healing site off the Mayan Tuyacu nestled in the Peruvian rainforest, and is protected by a man who claims himself to be a powerful shaman. It's up to 82 feet wide and 20 feet deep, and the river surges for nearly 4 miles at temperatures hot enough to brew tea or cook animals unfortunate enough to fall in it.
Oh.
And a small portion of this river is indeed hot enough to boil on its own.
Huh.
That's one of those freaky things where it's like, oh my god, I want to see it, and I never want to go near it.
Yeah.
As soon as you're curious enough to go take a look at it, is that one time where some rogue bison comes and just knocks your ass into the damn river.
That'd be a horrible way to go. Let me just say that. Oh my god.
Yeah. To go as an entree at Chick-fil-A? Yes, I'd say it'd be horrible. On the more positive side of WTF, Hugh Jackman, the guy that plays Wolverine all the time up until this next upcoming Wolverine 3, he says he's done after that, right?
Yeah.
Well, believe it or not, he does other movies.
Oh, of course he does.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman's been making the circuit advertising a new movie I'm not too familiar with called Eddie the Eagle. And when you make the circuit, of course, that means you sit down with everybody who wants to ask you questions about this movie and ask you questions in general, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So he sat down at one of those press junkets, and he was waiting for the interviewer. And the interviewer sat down across from him, and it almost immediately broke down. And even Jackman was surprised when he found out that the interviewer was going to be Ryan Reynolds, of all people.
Too good.
So Reynolds did ask him some questions about Eddie the Eagle, to his credit. But then he started sprinkling all these other questions, like, quote, did you guys get any notes from the studio to sew Eddie's mouth shut or make laser from his eyes, unquote. And to Hugh Jackman's tremendous credit, he rolled with it. He actually responded to the question by saying, quote, I didn't, but I thought it'd be a great idea. As a story, it totally makes sense, unquote. So he got his shots, but at least he rolled with it.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the amazing video that Iranian State TV put out this week?
No.
They had a video of a Hezbollah sniper killing 6 ISIS fighters in under 2 minutes.
Oh.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. They put it on the news. It was this weird silhouetted video of one of their snipers actually interrupting some kind of meeting. And then after he shot the first one, they scrambled around a little bit. He used a digital optical zoom to zoom in on a few more and took them out individually after that. It was an amazing video.
Oh.
And then almost as soon as they put it out, people started calling bullshit.
Oh.
Because some people noticed that after he took a shot, this weird marker would appear on the screen. So people on the internet did a little bit of research. It turns out that marker is what appears every time you get a successful snipe in the Medal of Honor video game. A French news outlet called France 24 has been airing the footage on TV in Iran and Saudi Arabia, and it's being spread around the internet with headlines like 6 Daesh combatants are killed in 2 minutes by a Hezbollah sniper. The Iranian news agency even added some extra details of reporting, claiming that the sniper was using an Arash gun, which is manufactured in Iran. Okay, well, there's one last story in the WTF corner. I wish I had teachers that were as funny as this man. There's a statistics professor who likes to give quizzes, and at the end, he'll give extra credit questions to everybody, but he tailors them by the quiz. In other words, he has a special... I'm sorry?
To pop culture?
To all kinds of stuff that doesn't really make sense to anything in regards to statistics.
Correct. Yeah,
okay.
I saw this.
He adds questions like, who played Doc Holliday in the movie Tombstone? How many seasons was Full House on the air?
Oh my god.
Yep, the person got that one wrong.
I've been in the game for 10 years making rap tunes.
Yeah, complete this song.
What color pants does Jake from State Farm wear? He actually added one extra credit question that was, yesterday during my lecture, I quickly mentioned that only a pink pen will save you tomorrow. Draw a stick figure below in that pink pen.
Aww. I want a teacher like him.
Describe the dumbest conversation you overheard recently.
Yeah, the guy, he actually, he gives points totals, and the person's response to that was so good, he gave him extra.
Yeah, the response would get you 1 to 5 points. He gave one student 7 because their conversation was, guy, do you like Bon Jovi? Girl, no thanks, I don't eat Italian food.
Whoa!
I like this. On the bottom of one quiz, he actually put, quote, first person to read this, stand up proudly on your chair and yell at the top of your lungs, oh, Captain, my Captain, will receive a 95% on this exam.
But it has an asterisk in front of it.
It does have an asterisk right next to it, and underneath it says, just kidding, name the drummer from the Beatles.
Which the guy got right. It was Ringo.
Okay, so the subject of this week is Ladies' Week. We have the first 2 issues of both A-Force and Captain Marvel, which have come out post-Secret Wars in their comic book line. Which would you prefer to start with?
Whichever. I will say, however, that Ladies' Night kind of brings something different to mind once I've seen Deadpool.
Why? Where are you hiding the ring?
Let's start with Captain Marvel, because that was not what I expected at all, really.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel is Carol Danvers, the lady who's trying to live up to the legacy of the former Captain Marvel, Mar-Vell, from the Kree Empire. And the reason why she got powers is long and complicated, because even the powers she uses today are not the ones she was originally granted, of a sort, because they're the ones Rogue took, but the ones she has now are by far and away better than that, because she was artificially augmented and evolved by Kree technology to the point where her strength is better, she can survive in space, that's where the energy projection came from, and energy absorption. You know, a host of new abilities came to her because of that. So she's maybe half a step below cosmic, I guess, at all times. What do you guys know about the origin of Captain Marvel?
Literally
Paragon
nothing.
power set. Got her powers from an alien accident, I think.
Yeah, I just know she had to run in with Rogue.
Not an alien accident. She spent extended time around Captain Marvel, which I know did something weird to her biology. The original Captain Marvel, the guy known as Mar-Vell, I should say. After that, she was forcibly worked on by the Kree, and her biology was advanced, which is where the near cosmic powers and the energy projection comes into it. However, at the beginning of this story, she had just taken a new job as the head of Alpha Flight, which was almost a joke in and of itself.
Yeah, I was sitting here going, okay, so they hired the Canadians to man the the first responders for threats to outer space.
Yeah, it was a strange choice. And as Steve said, it's a Canadian crew called Alpha Flight. They're made up of Canadians' first, I guess you could say Marvel's first Canadian super team, which doesn't involve as much maple and hockey. Although one of them is called Puck.
Even though they have a guy named Puck.
Yeah.
What were you guys' first impression from the Captain Marvel series?
I really wasn't quite sure how serious to take it. But, it started off, just, I guess, kind of getting you a little bit caught up with everything. I didn't realize that they had even made, something to take over after Sword kind of got shot down.
That was kind of a mystery to me as well, although you got to admit, Sword gets shot down a lot.
Yeah, so... I was familiar with Alpha Flight's characters for the most part. Never been a huge fan, but I knew who the people were. But after I read the 2 issues, I was hooked. I'm actually going to read some more and find out what the heck happened because I'm enjoying this.
Oh yeah, me too.
It was kind of an amazing difference, whereas it was definitely stylized more as a general spacefaring story than specifically a superhero comic. It almost seemed like some kind of bizarre extension of Deep Space Nine in a lot of respects.
Yeah, that was what I remembered after I started reading. I was like, oh yeah, this is the one Jeremy described as like Deep Space Nine but Marvel. And it does. It works out very similarly to that.
The first few pages where she was getting led to this, I guess that's some kind of bizarre gravity space elevator by what's his name?
Rhodes,
James Rhodes,
yeah.
the War Machine. I mean, when she said she was getting ready to go to the station from the Triskelion base, I thought it was going to be a spaceship, an elevator. Maybe she was just going to fly. No, they even came up with an unusual way to do that.
Mass driver.
That could be what it was.
The design of the station and then finding out Abigail Brand was...
Well, you didn't come
that'd
through.
be a good way to put it. The design of the station and finding out Abigail Brand was going to be the second in command, that was really bizarre.
Now, what is her... She was the commander of Sword, wasn't she?
Yeah, Sword used to be the first responders to alien threats, and it was another, abbreviation to mean something longer than it is. But Sword had gone through at least 4 stations in the last decade of Marvel Comics, so I imagine that somebody was tired of putting that much money into the project. I did like, as soon as Captain Marvel arrives and starts looking around the station, one of the first things she sees is Rocket Raccoon doing a supply run on her station.
Rocket.
Yeah.
Love Rocket.
Well, he admitted to taking all this stuff without permission, including a nuclear bomb, which is the one thing she won't let him take.
He's such a little kid.
Or, good.
And let alone, this is a raccoon that could build just about any kind of weapon out of whatever you give him. A good person. He's a dangerous space runner.
I guess that was an interesting choice, but I'm not going to get into that right now. One of the things that stuck out to me in the first reading of this was the character interactions. Everybody seemed oddly normal for this type of book.
Yeah, and they all had a lot of respect for each other, even though I didn't realize that Aurora and Sasquatch were former married, but...
At least, Aurora and Sasquatch are kind of complicated stories. Steve, do you mind telling the story of those two?
I'm only really familiar with Sasquatch. I'm not even really sure I'm all that familiar with Sasquatch. I know their powers. I don't really know their origins or anything.
Okay. Aurora is one half of a pair of twins. Her brother is North Star. She has powers of super speed and flight. And when she grabs North Star's hand, she creates this brilliantly white light, which is why his call sign is North Star and she's Aurora. Sasquatch. Oh my God! There's times I feel great about him and times I feel sorry for him. Sasquatch looks like that, even though he's your classic 70s science geek. The problem is that he doesn't just change form; he's accidentally connected to what they call one of the great beasts of Canada. I think it's called Tanarak, but I believe I have that wrong. Anyway, that's not an actual transformation. He's basically borrowing the body of a mystical Canadian monster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He and Aurora were in a relationship for a long time, but it's kind of hard to stay in love with somebody with multiple personality disorder. Everything keeps changing on you.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So,
there's the fact that they used to, or she used to have to be with their brother all the time in order for their powers to function.
There is that, admittedly. I would love to know the story on how Danvers got all of these weird personalities to work together in this, because on top of it all, you've got Puck, the guy who punched the devil in the face to get out of hell. Actual Marvel story. I don't know the details on it because I only just found out myself in the last few months.
That's so cool.
But, again, this book was relatively refreshing because of the weird stuff they had to do to try and get to their day-to-day, because as much as Captain Marvel wanted the job, she really wasn't looking forward to the idea of diplomatic solutions to things.
Yeah. Yeah, she was pretty upset with Rocket for pointing out that she had signed up for
a desk job.
A desk job, essentially.
Oh.
Yeah. And boy, did she find out what that meant. She was so relieved when meteors were coming and she had something to punch.
Oh. That's awesome. I like it.
Yeah. And just the conversations afterwards when she's so thrilled to get a shower, but she still has to share space in a co-ed shower with the rest of Alpha Flight. Captain Marvel's trying to get out of her unitard costume, and Puck just offers help if she needs to get out of it.
I didn't say
no. He actually offered to help her clean the meteorite dust out of the orifices.
Oh my God!
Yeah, he's that lewd.
They gonna get married.
Yeah,
he's 3 feet tall?
He wants to get all up in her Starahala.
Yeah, he's not even the kind of short that's tit level. He's like navel, maybe.
Call me, maybe. I'm kidding.
Well, Puck is kind of a sad story when it comes to Alpha Flight, because he used to be a normal man. He was an archaeologist who found a mystical artifact. Now he has a malevolent entity stuck inside him. And
he is cursed.
Yeah, the side effect is that he is now preternaturally 3 feet tall and in constant pain.
Oh.
But
okay, that's where that came from.
But it's up to his strength and his density. So he tends to bounce around a lot, which is why everyone calls him Puck. It's not a Shakespeare reference. It's a reference to that small black thing hockey players whack around.
Yep.
So, towards the end of the first issue, they find out that there is a ship that supposedly launched the meteorites towards Earth, which happens to be the same race as the delegation that's on their station to discuss garbage contracts.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which sounds like a story out of The Sopranos.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, she did call him mobbed up.
Yeah. So she and a squadron from Alpha Flight went in and engaged this ship, which did shoot back at them. They rip it open and find out that everybody in it appears to have been long dead.
And there's that symbol scratched in the bulkhead.
The Star of Hala, a Kree symbol. The same symbol she borrows for her costume.
Oh.
So she's slightly disturbed. For a first issue, on a character that's always had a little bit of trouble gaining traction in general readership, I thought this was strong, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they had a definite plan going into this.
Well, it wasn't just the plan. It was a solid introduction on the main character, a really good catch-up on the backgrounds of the various sub-characters and supporting players, as well as a very, let's not say unique, but at least a well-executed first mystery. You know what I mean? They had an end-of-book cliffhanger that actually makes you wonder, why in the heck did this happen?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the second issue largely had to do with the investigation of this derelict ship, which was kind of funny because the first issue was very Deep Space Nine. The second issue was like aliens.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver aliens.
Yeah, she kept going on about, I used to like this movie. Now I hate this movie.
Well, they even... The writers of this particular series, who wrote this? Let's see. The artist was Chris Anka. Writers are Michelle Frazekas and Tara Butters.
Tara Butters.
That's her name, Tara Butters. Which, sounds like gay porn action, but, still.
A little bit. Just a little bit.
But the writing of it had that this derelict ship, was organic. It was grown. Or techno-organic, I guess would be the right name for it. And they made it extra creepy. Poor Puck wandering in a pond of some kind of weird biomatter. It's waist deep. To him is like up to his neck.
Yeah, over his head almost.
Yeah.
Oh God! As a short person,
and
that terrified me.
very, very odorous.
Yeah.
And not to mention the fact that they're bringing along Alpha Flight +1 with the scientist.
Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that
to throw up, and his comment was Alpha Flight
don't
up.
puke. He said Alpha Flight don't puke. Then he starts wandering in that muck, and it's okay. I'm going to go ahead and take back that Alpha Flight don't puke thing.
So at least he's reasonable.
Yeah.
No
Then they get
standards.
dropped, and it turns out there's a small colony of space slugs or something living in that ship.
Yeah, I have no idea what the hell those are. They were creepy.
It wasn't great, and they had to peel them off everything. I like that Aurora
Including
is still
Sasquatch.
plucking him off Sasquatch. She tells him, "Stay still. The mucus is adhering to your fur." And the doctor says, I don't think I'm the one to groom this particular area.
Yeah, she's sitting there staring at his butt.
And Puck is no help because he says, "I feel like the only solution is to shave him bald."
Damn it!
Yeah, even their fearless leader is just like, why do you think I cut my hair short? No love.
Not for anything. And there was even the illusion that Sasquatch hasn't quite let go of his old relationship with Aurora. She tells him, "I think you're clean. Thank you. You can let go of my hand."
Yeah.
I was a bit curious about it because I was a bit confused with that line, so I didn't.
Sasquatch has always been the one that's had trouble letting go of the relationship when Aurora tries to move on.
Oh,
that's been a constant. Okay. Not clingy, it's just he hasn't had relationships with a lot of people. And most of the ones he has had relationships with are other members of Alpha Flight. He's one of those who dates where he works.
That's not good.
No. So, yeah, they find out that all the sentient things that were running the ship are likely dead, and then they split up.
Never a good sign. Never a good move in a horror movie.
I would say not the good move was to leave Sasquatch and Puck to poke around the quote-unquote brain of the ship to try and get it started. Meanwhile, Aurora, Captain Marvel, and I think her name was Dr. Shimizu.
Wendy,
thank you. They were left to poke around the heart.
No, the bridge.
The bridge.
The brain and the heart were supposedly in the same area.
Oh, okay. And as soon as they get it active is when it scans them and immediately starts shutting doors on them. And enacting countermeasures.
It's like, oh, you're not supposed to be here.
That's not terrifying or anything.
Well, that wasn't the terrifying part. Wendy and Captain Marvel were shut off from Aurora, who's going to meet up with the others. Then the Doctor thinks she's got the door open, and then an extra bulkhead drops down between her and Captain Marvel.
Oh.
So
And
this
she
whole
gets
thing
fast.
is, yeah, this whole thing goes from bad to worse in an instant.
Yeah.
And what about those weird techno bugs that came crawling out of the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
the
scary.
spiders. Yeah, I would not have done well there.
Well, it was made worse by the idea that Captain Marvel is highly durable, yet these things cut her pretty easily. Which is very unusual for her in any rate.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, like.
Well, even more unusual, she wasn't able to heal from it as quickly as she normally does.
Yeah.
To the point where, at the end of the comic...
Well, she collapsed because of either blood loss or injuries. Wendy is the one that's accused of starting this whole mess in the first place and is put under arrest. And then there's an explosion at the side of the station.
Possibly from the artifacts that they brought back from the ship.
Which were in Wendy's backpack, which doesn't help matters.
Nope.
So, issue 3, I don't know when it comes out, but I gotta admit, I am all over this series.
Me too.
I really didn't expect this to be this good.
I'm excited.
You know, I'm solidly behind this, and I had somebody offer a while ago to put me together a Putt cosplay. I want a Putt cosplay right now.
You could easily play the part.
I like him. You know, he's acerbic, but he's useful. And Aurora as a character I've never been a big fan of, but I've never seen her this self-assured before. She's actually standing on her own for the first time ever.
Yeah, she's kind of playing their science officer, which, works.
Well, this is also her first major role outside of co-starring in X-Men books since her multiple personality disorder was cured. I think I buried the lead on that. She used to have multiple personality disorder, and there were 2 personas. There was Aurora, the fun-loving, freewheeling superhero, and Jean-Marie Balbier, which is her real name. But that personality was basically about 2 steps away from a nunnery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she hated being a superhero, didn't want anything to do with any of them, scared all the time, very prudish, not interesting to be around. But she spent a little time in a Canadian human weapon project called Weapon X, where they tried to cure her multiple personality disorder, and all it did was create a third personality that simply calls itself Jean, and was borderline murderous.
Jean. Oh. I don't want to hear that.
Well, like I said, her real name is Jean-Marie Balbier, so this one just called itself Jean. I don't know when they...
It's synonymous for the things that go batshit wrong.
If I remember correctly, the whole thing was fixed as a result of her and her brother as members of the X-Men running into something else. They got put in these pods, and they spent a little while in hyper time, so she may have actually worked out her own issues at that time. But she seems to be on much more even keel than I've ever seen her. In short, though, this is a very strange book that I could recommend to a ton of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it has comedy, it has thriller moments, it has scary moments, gross moments. This works on a ton of levels that I haven't seen outside of event books before.
Yeah, and it's not one of those that you really need to be like up on all the characters or anything. I mean, it helps, but
it would be nice, yeah.
It would help a few details as far as character interactions, but as far as getting into the story, it's a lot like Deep Space Nine. If you haven't seen TNG, you can still totally get into this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Good to know.
So let's slide into the second book we are talking about, the first 2 issues of A-Force. Now, A-Force is it's technically a spin-off book, because from the Secret Wars started this mini-series that was an alternative versions of superheroines from Marvel in their own team. Because of the success of that book, the miniseries is now getting an ongoing where the regular versions of these heroes are going to be formed into a team. As far as disparate personalities, you can't get much more different than the 6 individuals in this book.
Yeah.
The first issue starts...
There was some conflict of interest going on a lot.
Yeah. The first issue starts with the only original character to spin out of A-Force, which is Singularity, who remembers Battle World. She remembers what the Secret Wars was. It's still kind of a mystery as to where she came from, but apparently cosmic changes don't bother her. All she knew was that the Earth was, or the world was where she thought it was, and she immediately started to recognize people she called friends and started talking to them. Problem is, because these people don't remember Battle World, they don't remember her. And
Which is
her first
sad.
Her first interaction was warping directly into the bridge of the Alpha Flight station and saying hello to Captain Marvel, who says, "Who are you?"
Yeah, her innocent personality, I was really liking her character. I think they wrote her very well.
That was also the unusual narration, was that they used her kind of broken dialogue as the narrative boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of interesting because Singularity would be the biggest unknown of this series if nobody read the prior mini. So I think the writers made a good choice by spending the most time in her thought process trying to get you caught up on what she could be. You know, just when she scared that poor technician on Alpha Flight who dropped her coffee cup, she was too excited to try and help put it back together.
I thought she was just drinking coffee.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
She was cleaning up the mess.
Right.
Singularity, her entire body seems to be a portal to unknown places. It's almost like she's made up of some kind of extra normal matter.
She literally looks like the Starscape.
Mm-hmm. But then she's being chased by something very much like her, which seems to be made out of antimatter.
Yeah, and literally calls itself as such.
Yeah. And it wants to destroy Singularity for reasons that over the 2 issues didn't become any clearer.
Nope, just the fact that her very existence burns it.
Yeah. You got to appreciate her instincts, though. Captain Marvel won't let her fight because she doesn't know her, so as she goes outside to meet it, Singularity doesn't wait around. She gets in an escape pod so she can lure it away. Kind of an interesting choice for a character that's already shown being able to fly and teleport around the cosmos, but hey.
Yeah.
You know, my best guess is she did it to purposefully make a trail. If she just teleports from place to place, it'll be harder for that thing to follow it.
I can't get over how pretty this art is.
Yeah, who is the artist on A-Force currently?
Yeah, that is
so
true.
Good.
I was really liking the art.
His name is Jorge Molina.
Okay.
That explains why I like the writing so much. The writer of A-Force is G. Willow Wilson.
What else have they done?
G. Willow Wilson is the writer on the new Miss Marvel.
Oh.
Okay.
So we're working with 2 of his works. Cool.
Yep.
Oh.
So Singularity's pod goes right through one of the top spires of New Attilan, the home of the Inhumans.
Yep.
I love the response of 2 New Yorkers who find the pod.
Yeah.
You know, do you think we should, call somebody? Before or after we Instagram this thing?
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
People.
Well, it's not
But it's such a human response.
I'm glad I can't even log
we saw an
into
accident. Check for survivors, not before we take pictures.
Yeah. It was also kind of a human response when the doors open. Singularity stumbles out, and the girl of the couple just says, "Oh my God, it's so cute!"
Yeah. Cosplay.
I like the guy, though, because he looks at his girlfriend and says, maybe it's the sole surviving member of an advanced alien race sent across the galaxy by its grieving parents to fulfill its destiny on Earth as a force for truth and justice. Maybe we should adopt it.
Oh
and shots fired, DC. Shots fired.
Are you kidding?
The girl is fucking gold.
I know, and the girl looks back at her boyfriend and says, no way. We're child-free, remember? We agreed.
I like her.
Wow.
I want her.
So Antimatter shows up to, again, attack Singularity, who decides to fight back. It just turns out Singularity decides to open another portal because she feels somebody else she knows nearby and ends up right in the middle of the law office of Jennifer Walters.
Office or judge's room?
Law office, because she's talking about...
Law office.
Yeah, she's talking to another lawyer about settlement. And so Singularity goes to hug the She-Hulk, who also doesn't know who this is. I gotta appreciate when antimatter attacks the two of them, the She-Hulk just flexes her muscles and ruins her business suit, and all she says is, "Great, I just bought this suit."
Uh-huh.
And then Singularity's like, "Clothes are weird." She's like, "Normally I agree."
Yeah. She says, "I mostly agree." You gotta I also like it. She-Hulk's first move is throwing furniture.
Grab the nearest object, Chuck.
I know.
And I
Any
love
idea
her expression when she's falling.
I know. Any idea how to fight it? No. Lovely. Jeez. Well, She-Hulk did manage to power herself out of Antimatter's hand, but it put itself back together relatively quickly.
And of course, she's in the air.
Yeah. So things just get worse, though, when it seems like they got Antimatter at least dealt with in the short term when Medusa shows up wanting to arrest Singularity for breaking part of New Attilan. Medusa, familiarity, any?
Inhuman Queen, prehensile hair.
It's
That's
not just
all I know.
prehensile, it's strong as cable.
Aw.
It is very tough hair. She is the queen of the Inhumans and acts like it. There is a curtain match the drapes joke in there, and I'd almost like the answer to that question, frankly.
I loved it when Antimatter called her a pet.
Yeah. Yeah, the second issue, it refers to Medusa as this world's pet. And that's dangerous. But Medusa wants to feed Singularity to Antimatter just to solve this whole thing, and the She-Hulk will not allow that for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that's something that shouldn't be done, because after all, Medusa just wants to cut this to the quick and deal with this problem. I guess the question is, if Antimatter gets Singularity, what's next?
Right.
But as soon as Antimatter started ripping her own soldiers apart was when she had enough of this already.
And due to Singularity's commiseration for the fate of that soldier, she kind of reversed her opinion of Singularity.
Yeah. It is... I've never really seen Medusa cut loose because I gotta admit, as a concept, Medusa was never interesting to me as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, your hair moves a lot. That sounds special.
It's about as good as Mr. Fantastic. Oh, wait.
Yeah, but hey, I mean, Antimatter looks to be about 10 stories tall. She wrapped him up with enough of her hair to fling him into the sky by herself.
Yeah, into another building, so... Yeah.
Yep.
Not bad.
That's a good statement. And then the bizarre teleportation grenade she used.
Oh, God. It's a prototype. Where's it sending? That's one of the kinks. We don't know.
Where'd it go? That's one of the kinks. I have no idea, so let's figure that out first. It sent antimatter to the backside of the moon.
It's like, I've already seen this place.
Poor children. Oh my god.
I know. And I like Medusa's next question. Who can we call? Let's focus on the opposite of punching. So Singularity, without asking, teleports him to Tokyo, Japan, into the middle of a Japanese wedding.
You tried.
Well, she did it on purpose because she found the one person she knows that is the opposite of punching, which is Nico Minoru, a.k.a. Sister Grimm, a.k.a. former leader of the Runaways. She actually has a longer story than some Marvel characters from the 70s, frankly. Nico Minoru, she had a group of friends that she hung out with. Not one of them was older than 16. The youngest one was probably about 12. In one night when their parents are holding a party, the kids are supposed to be in a different room, but they snuck into a secret panel they found, led them down a tunnel, and they found out that all six of these kids, all of their parents, are supervillains.
Oh my god.
Damn.
Yeah. So as a group, they ran away, which is why they're called the Runaways.
Oh, that's so cool.
It turns out Nico Minoru's parents of the cadre of super villains are the sorcerers, and she found out that she has the power of the Staff of One. Now what happens is when she bleeds, she has the ability to create a one-word spell with the staff, but every time she uses a spell, it's gone forever. She cannot recast it. And yes, for those that are wondering, bleeds doesn't just mean I cut my hand. Bleeds can mean when I hit that time of the month, it's all open.
Oh my god.
But she got involved in something else called Avengers Arena. Anybody?
Yeah, I think we read some of that.
Would that be?
Avengers Arena was a strange story where a villain known as Arcade created a special zone to pit several young Avengers prodigies against each other. It included Nico Minoru, one of her friends from the Runaways Chase, another member of the Bloodstone family, and the one character everyone thought was going to win this little contest was X-23. The idea was they had to fight each other because it turns out Arcade was a big fan of Battle Royale, the manga.
Battle Royale. I'm actually working on something right now from Battle Royale. I'm reading essays, so I'm happy about that.
In one of the final issues of the book, Nico took a shot that was so difficult, she lost her left arm from the forearm down.
Oh.
So, and she nearly lost the Staff of One, but as soon as she regained the staff, she cast a spell, so she now has a magical construct for her left hand, and she came back stronger than ever. So, this is the character that they've now come to find, the character known as Sister Grimm. And now she has to explain to superheroes she's never met why they should go away. Because at this point in her life, Nico's done with superheroics. She's done with magic. She's done with all the weirdness. She's trying to reconnect with her extended family, who now will never want to talk to her again because they ruined her cousin's wedding. And you gotta appreciate Singularity, who's trying so hard to reconnect with her friends, none of which know who in the heck she is.
It's almost, it's really sad to see her just know everyone but them not knowing her.
Yeah, and about the time they come to a kind of a silent detente as far as what they're going to do is when Antimatter shows up at the wedding, of all things.
Yeah. Yep. If you had any chance of salvaging it, it's gone now.
Yeah. It's interesting that Nico is learning different languages so she can cast spells in different languages so she doesn't run out as quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a smart idea.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting loophole that it's language-based.
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting that as soon as Antimatter comes to Nico, it puts its hand through her torso, which you think would be the end shot for her, but all she does is cast Be Unmade.
Yeah.
That's badass. Just
yeah. Well, being that antimatter is living antimatter, you knew it wasn't going to do anything for long, but that's definitely a first statement that is pretty impressive.
Yep, almost as bad as No More Mutants.
Yeah. And she healed herself in Estonian. So, they figured that since antimatter seems to be sensitive... Oh, wait. I do like that they're talking about their next move. Then the bride, who's already ticked off over the ruined dress and ruined wedding, asks, "Is one of you jerks who ruined my wedding expecting a call from Captain Marvel?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I like, what the hell?
I love that they all look at each other, and there's a She-Hulk who says, "I'll take it." So Alpha Flight and Captain Marvel have figured out that apparently if you focus enough light energy on this thing, you might be able to disperse it. And unfortunately for everybody else, there's Singularity already knows somebody who produces a lot of light.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So they end up going to Miami in a roller derby, professional roller derby match, and they find Allison Blair, who we've talked about just a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Don't know it.
You will, Elise, because Allison Blair is the real name of the character known as the Dazzler.
Oh, she's that. Oh, okay.
Yep, she's the one that was made in the 70s as part of a cross-promotion with a disco company.
Uh-huh.
And she was eventually retconned into being a mutant, became an X-Man. Arguably one of the least popular X-Men according to fanboys.
Mm.
I like her, though, because she stood up with some really tough eras.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm excited to meet her.
I do love, first of all, when they teleport to Miami... Captain Marvel meets him from flying down from space, and all she does is say, "Ladies," like this is like it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they spot Allison Blair out there, Singularity teleports right in front of her. Dazzler just screams a little scream, then punches her in the jaw and knocks her out.
Whoa, okay.
And she seems okay with it.
Well, this you got to remember, this is post the point where Dazzler was a prisoner for 4 months as people siphoned her blood to make a drug out of it.
Oh.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, Dazzler was captured by Mystique, who was using her blood to make mutant growth hormone.
Oh.
They were using her system to supply all of Madripoor. Meanwhile...
Wow, it sounds like a concept from another comic we've read.
No, you don't understand, dude. Do you know what Dazzler was doing before she was captured?
What?
She was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. She was a mutant liaison S.H.I.E.L.D. hired. So this was probably the best, most stable gig she ever had, and it was ripped right out from underneath her.
Yeah, I remember that. Damn.
It wasn't until she was rescued by Magneto and Cyclops' Uncanny X-Men that she had freedom, and since then, she's been on kind of a punk tear for pretty good reasons, I think.
Disco is dead.
So, what was it? They explained the situation to Dazzler, and I think she's okay with the plan just as far as it means that they'll leave her the hell alone.
Yep.
You know, Antimatter shows up, and I like the fact that all Dazzler says is, Nico, give me some music, and make it loud. If in case you forgot, at least, Dazzler's power is she can transmute sound waves into light.
Right. Okay. I was trying to remember right now, like what her power was. So,
I just loved Andy. You were sparkly.
And she jumps up with that wide angle beam and just says, "Hell yeah, I am!" Oh, Dazzler's powers can freak people out because she doesn't just transmute current sound into light. She can actually absorb it and charge it and save it. There was an X-Men comic where she freaked out people at the beach because she just absorbed all the ambient sound. So people listening to radios heard nothing. People talking to each other couldn't say anything. They suddenly couldn't hear the ocean 3 feet in front of them.
Whoa, that'd be,
wow.
Oh my god, trippy.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's where this ends, just about the point where this is like Captain Marvel. Right when it's getting good is when I ran out of comics.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but how much you want to bet that's not going to really slow down antimatter?
Well, I don't think it was so much of a plan to kill him as they needed to study the effects on him.
Yeah, they need to disperse him more or less. As far as the writers of this, Kelly Thompson and G. Willow Wilson, I'm really amazed at how well they seem to have not how quickly this has come together necessarily, but how much they've found 6 different characters who have 6 very different voices.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
The characters, even though some of their powers overlap to degrees, they're not very similar women by any degree.
Yeah,
no.
So I'm a little curious because I get the feeling that one of the biggest problems in the early books of A-Force is going to be a power struggle, because I can't imagine Medusa, She-Hulk, or Captain Marvel being very willing to take orders from any of the others.
Yeah. Now, was there some kind of relationship between Nico and Singularity during the Secret Wars or anything? Because
okay, yeah, good story. I think it was called Arcadia was the land that A-Force was in charge of over Battle World. And A-Force wasn't just these 6 individuals. Any lady with powers in Arcadia was a member of A-Force. But these 6 were, well, actually these 5 minus Singularity were the primary ones. Okay?
Okay.
It turns out that Lady Loki of Arcadia was adopting strays. So she had 2 adopted daughters, Sister Grimm and Miss America. And as a result of Lady Loki opening portals to try and allow monsters into Arcadia, Miss America was banished to the shield wall in the first issue. They later found out that Loki was, the Lady Loki, I should say, was manipulating things to try and take over Arcadia. So she is the one who got her own daughter sent to the shield by accident.
Oh.
And so when they found out what happened, they basically handed Loki over to Grimm, who sent her to, I think, the zombie world.
Oh, fun!
Right.
She said she was sorry, and she really didn't want what happened to Miss America to happen, but it did. and it's not like they were going to let her hang around after doing all that. The in the A-Force mini, not only did Lady Loki betray them, but her actions also caused the death of Medusa, who was trying to defend them from the Thors while they figured out what happened. So it was a very deep betrayal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really kind of amazed at how quickly the art and writing on this story came together to form something that is a very competent superhero book. It's not as serious, though. It's like, if I had to put it in terms, it has kind of the same feel as the Flash TV show. It's lighthearted. You get a sense of threat, but you don't get a sense of doom.
Yeah.
And I don't mean Doctor Doom. I mean, there's not a sense of what they're doing is necessarily going to end the planet. They're just working really hard to fix the latest issue.
I think it's because maybe Antimatter doesn't come off as like, I'm going to destroy everything. He seems to be almost a strange, twisted innocence as singularity.
Maybe, but I have a feeling that Antimatter's not going to factor into this for much longer.
Yeah.
I think the next issue would be the one where this particular issue ends and they start focusing on the mystery of what singularity is. Because even in the miniseries, there is no direct explanation as to what in the world is singularity.
Yeah, she obviously isn't anything we've really seen before.
Well, I will be honest. I was a bit turned off by the fact that a random character popping up with the current backstory with the relation of these characters. Like, I must have missed something during the whole Secret Wars things. But you know what? I think it kind of works to the advantage of this book if you haven't read it.
It does work to its advantage because most people are as much in the dark on singularity as everybody else is in the book.
True.
You know, we know nothing about her.
Yeah.
Even if you've read the A-Force mini, you know nothing about her. And all we seem to know is that she's relatively new, has a very, very, very new sense of self, and has a tremendous amount of power for somebody who is so innocent.
I love her.
The level of innocence she is extreme. Kind of reminds me of Starfire, except less
Starfire
brutal.
from yes.
Yeah.
That'd be a good way to put it.
brutal.
Although I think I was about to say I think her innocence is actually ticked up a couple because she's never came from a warrior race. She seems to be from nowhere. And no, not the giant floating celestial head. So I'm as much as Captain Marvel, I enjoyed that book because it has a sense of adventure. A-Force, I would say I continue reading it because it gives me a sense of curiosity.
Yeah, kind of like what's going to happen next? How are these people? It's like, you know, The Odd Couple except with 5 people instead of 2.
I would prefer Captain Marvel over A-Force, but they're both equally good.
Well, Captain Marvel is a good introduction to people who don't read comics, I think, because it's, as we discussed, it was a short introduction to a lot of characters who have history without cumbersome continuity. In the case of A-Force, though, it's more of an anthology book because I would say that A-Force is a good book, but it's a doorway book. If you read this, then you're going to want to know more about Medusa and the She-Hulk and Nico Minoru and the Dazzler and why any of these people are as important and as powerful as they are, because even though most of these characters are underutilized in Marvel Comics, it's very clear none of them are lightweights.
Yeah.
So I think A-Force succeeds as a book that makes you... Captain Marvel doesn't make you want to dig into past issues to understand anything. A-Force is more likely to make you ask those questions and start digging into past issues that not only do they date back in Marvel Comics, technically, most of the books these characters came from are still cheap. Not exactly talking Cyclops and Wolverine here, or Captain Marvel and Wolverine. Or, I'm sorry, Captain America and Wolverine. We're talking about a bunch of characters who have not typically sold well in their own books, even though some of them have been around for hundreds of issues. So this is I'd say this is almost a key to Marvel history here. You guys can stop me if you think I'm wrong. It's just, this is what I see.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
I wouldn't say I know enough about the comic industry to respond, but I'm really liking your thoughts on it.
Well,
I would have to agree. I kind of feel the same way.
Well, the other thing that's a strength of both of these books is that they're even though they're made around female characters, I wouldn't say that these are the kinds of books you could only give to women.
Oh, no.
These are entertaining, well thought out character books.
Yeah. I like them. And I've never really been a comic person. I'm really enjoying these. I mean, I'm female, but...
Well, as a very new comic reader, at least, I would say that both of these books are really good places to jump into Marvel Comics and see if you like the company on a whole. Because they're bright and well written. They're not very typical as far as comic art styles in either form for either Captain Marvel or A-Force. And on top of which, these feel more like they're not one-note characters. They're in-depth characters. Yeah, and you definitely get from Captain Marvel and A-Force 2 different views on the kinds of adventures that characters can have.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying it so far, so I'm hoping I get a little bit more of that.
All right, cool. So what do you guys think? Would you give this to anybody and everybody, or are there people you wouldn't give this to? Because I was unusually entertained this week.
Yeah, Captain Marvel will give to new readers, but for A-Force, I would wait hand to more seasoned readers.
Okay. What do you think, Steve?
No, for me, I would just give it to anybody and everybody. I don't think the tone of either one really requires you to just, be a comic book nerd.
I admit A-Force, it'd be better if you did know some history on the characters, but it's not central to know it to enjoy what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm proof of that, which is great.
All right, and I have a suggestion for next week, and it was something that kind of surprised me that I forgot about it, frankly.
What?
Spider-Woman.
Oh.
Right.
I mean, Elise doesn't know the history because we've talked about Spider-Woman on and off. Her costume change, the unusual controversies regarding some of the covers to the books. But the thing that sets I'm already stuck in Captain Marvel. The thing that sets Spider-Woman apart in the last 4 issues since the Secret Wars is the detail I forgot about. Spider-Woman is 8 months pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it strikes me as different, not just because it's a female-centric book on a character that has struggled to maintain its own book, but honestly, I can't remember ever reading a book about a character that is currently pregnant. Usually when you come into a book, the characters are pregnant or either sidelined, or guess what, I had a baby during the time I was canceled.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of staring at it going, this is a book where the central character is actively pregnant. I think this is one of those things that's unusual enough, it's probably worth a look.
They still haven't said who the father is, right?
As far as I know, they have not. She apparently knows who the father is, but will not talk about it. Which makes me wonder what color the baby is, and by that I mean, is it blue? At least considering what goes on in Marvel, it's entirely possible.
Rainbow children. Mm-hmm.
There's 4 issues out, so it's a perfect reading length.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. So next week it'll be Spider-Woman. Can pregnant ladies kick ass? And I've known one, and yes, they can. So I invite you to roll with us again next week when it's Spider-Woman. Thank you very much. Have a great week. I am Jeremy.
Steve.
Jesse.
Don't jerk and drive. Enjoy.
Oh, he did it.
You always make this sound like you're getting ready to steal someone's picnic basket whenever I do that.
Oh, picnic. Ooh.
Yogi Bear joke.
Boo boo.
I just thought too hard about Yogi Bear. Oh my god.
What's it like when you think hard about Yogi Bear?
Oh, no.